Kubor ka Batisi TV. Lawan ra sepi da ka singam beats aqua na molai moro hakajing dap sans nem jongka. Rengkat ka 3 Olives Restaurant M Crown Hotel Kendailat Shillong bat ka Orange Nissan Loan So Po Shillong. One bantiet ya ka kali Datsun Ready Go bathamai ka bas kem bat bidor.
Nongilam kaliang Pyrshah Dr. Mukul sang mau lawan ra ka no confidence motion hayeng dorbar thawan ke jela ban peni bakim don Jingïatynjuh ini ke Sorkar pemerintah kabayalam do menteri rang ba ka jela konrat ki sangma ha ka jingi keren ke balane palat ndriu kenta ki MLA kaliang Pyrshah kila sanga ke Sorkar jela da ka bakdo ye ki bubun ki man ki bakentup na do ka songsuk songsan udau yong ka jingdeko aknat boarding ka puli ka puthi ka kot ka khia bat ki wei pat ki man kumju ru ki MLA na kaliang sinsyar kila isim mentalang ha ka jingi keren bat yaro bat pertai ki kam babha jong kani ka Sorkar menta hadian babaro kila yo bentalang ban keren bat kumju ru ka liang sinsyar ka ledep ban ai ya ka jubam menteri rang ba ka jelau la kerpat ya ka liang Pyrshah bahkan Weng no ya ka no confidence motion handai Dr. Mukul sang mau la pan jing syai biang halor ki katu kat ni teli ki mat handai kwanrat Treh Pyrshah bat ula ong ba ula dep jubab lut kumta ka te kapor ulam phang ke yang darbar uba met ba lingdo ula kelino Dr. Mukul la Weng no na em ya ka NC handai Dr. Mukul la jubab ba Treh ban Weng ya ka NC kumta ulam phang ula khot ban ya tunjuk bor da ka ba pensawa da ka sur bat hakate ke Jingïatynjuh bor ka Sorkar kala job da ka jingbon pa.
Sir, I'm deeply pained to see the state of affairs in our state, even more so during the corona pandemic. The people of the state has been subjected to so much sufferings that perhaps this could be the worst period in the history of the state. People have become helpless, and it is because of their strong faith in God and His blessings that our people are able to survive this crisis that they are facing now. I had a lot of hope and expectations from this government to deliver and provide the basic amenities to the people, but it has failed. Speaker, sir, for the sake of the people of the state, I am not tired to remind the Honorable Chief Minister over and over again on the lack of banking facilities in the rural areas of Meghalaya. I have repeatedly requested the Honorable Chief Minister to set up more banks and ATMs in the rural areas. All the existing banks in the rural areas are continuously overcrowded. Protocols of COVID-19, like distancing, are always violated while making a queue to withdraw or deposit cash from these banks. For instance, in Dangar village, people start queuing up at 3 a.m. in the morning in front of the UCO Bank. Recently, I witnessed a similar situation in Kharkuta and Resubelpara, where only one SBI bank is catering to the services in the Kharkuta and the Resubelpara blocks. At a time when most of the government schemes are directly linked to the banks for release of financial assistance, presence of more than one bank has become mandatory in all the economically viable villages of the state. I do not understand the mind of the government. Why is the government not taking any action on this? Though they know very well about the problems faced by the people, the government has forgotten the sufferings of the people. Coming to the issue related to the farmers, it is astonishing to know that in the midst of the lockdown, when the farmers of the state were undergoing a severe crisis with the market closed down, their products not fetching reasonable prices in the market, and the vegetables being compelled to rot in the fields, the Agriculture Department surrendered an amount of rupees 9 crores 2 lakhs 9,034 rupees. An amount of 9 crores 2 lakhs 9,034 has been surrendered by the Agriculture Department. And they have surrendered to the Finance Department, thereby giving a reason not being able to utilize this amount. That was the reason given by the Agriculture Department to Finance Department, saying they are not being able to utilize this amount. This huge amount was surrendered by the Director of Agriculture to the Deputy Secretary, Finance Economic Affairs on the 20th of April 2020. Like I mentioned earlier, in the middle of the lockdown for COVID-19. Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, this money which was kept in the civil deposit was sanctioned by the government to the Agriculture Department to help the farmers of the state with subsidy of the power tiller, pest management, purchase of agricultural equipment for integrated biofertilizers. This money could have also been used to assist the farmers to financially to bail them out of this pandemic crisis. How could the minister in charge of agriculture allow this to happen? Was he aware and informed about this money being surrendered? If he was aware, which I feel he knew about it, because his signature and approval that is required on the file before surrendering such a huge amount, then how could he give away this money that belonged to the farmers? How insensitive could he be when the farmers of the state are suffering so much? I urge upon the Chief Minister to return this 9 crores back to the farmers. It is their right to get the money. This is total failure of governance because the minister himself was not aware of what is happening in his own department. Mr. Speaker, sir, many government departments are not in a position to implement their schemes due to non-release of funds by the Finance Department. Lot of funds duly sanctioned and released by the Government of India are being held up by the Finance Department. For instance, the Border Area Development Program is a centrally sponsored scheme. The Government of India has released additional funds under the BADP since the month of June 2020. And that is for the year 2019-20. I kept inquiring about this money, and I was informed that the funds are not released yet by the Finance Department without specifying any reasons. As a result, all the works duly approved by the district and the state level committees are all held up. When can the works under Border Area Development Program get started? This is already a working season. I do not understand how the finance department expects to get the second installments from the government of India if the utilization certificates do not reach the central ministries on time. In fact, the schemes that are entitled to the MLAs, like the SRWP, are also still held up. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, your kind intervention is sought to ask the government to release all the pending funds to the departments and to the MLAs as well. So I would like to draw your kind attention to the loss of the revenue to the state exchequer due to the under-reporting of export of limestone, boulder stones, by the forest check gates, whereby the CAG report reveals that the state government has failed to realize rupees 36.12 crores of the Meghalaya Minor Mineral Reclamation Fund from the cement companies on utilization of limestone from the non-leased area. The collection of the money for the Meghalaya Minor Mineral Reclamation Fund should have been done by the respective DFOs at the time of the collection of royalty. The Forest Department is responsible for collection of the Meghalaya Minor Mineral Reclamation Fund, resulting to the loss in crores of rupees. Further, there is no review made by the government on matters relating to the issue of passes by the DMR, the Forest Department, and the Transport Department to ensure the forest challans, popularly called as TP, and not to be overlooked in the land custom stations. Also, there is no records of reviews on the quantity of limestone, boulder stones that has been transported to Bangladesh from all the LCS in the state, and how much amount has been collected towards the Meghalaya Minor Mineral Reclamation Fund, and the total amount realized from the whole state. Sir, illegal quarrying of limestone and boulder stones throughout the state is being carried rampantly without any regard and fear of the law. Who is patronizing all these illegal activities? For instance, in Bagli, which is in southwest Khasi Hills, near the Bangladesh border, the government had given approval to only 5 persons with limestone mining leases. But the people involved in the illegal mining of limestone in Bagli area are more than 100. The government is losing a lot of revenue because of this illegal trade. All these illegally extracted limestones are exported to Bangladesh without a single penny being paid to the government. As regards to food and civil supply, out of 38 lakhs population in the state, about 29 lakhs beneficiaries have been covered under the NFSA and non-NFSA. About 7 lakhs population of the state are still without ration cards. About 7 lakhs of the population are still without ration cards. This many people are deprived of their rights. The rights to food, which is a fundamental right of every citizen, and the government is duty-bound under Article 47 of the Constitution of India to raise the level of nutrition and standard of living of its people. My question is, how soon can the government be able to distribute 7 lakh ration cards to the people? It is reliably learned that about 57,153 applications of ration cards are pending to be issued, and of which 11,108 applications alone are pending in the DC's office of East Khasi Hills. Honorable Speaker, sir, Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, the rise in crime against women and girls below 18 years of age is a major concern in the state. While we all agree that these crimes has to be curbed and handled at the social level, but the law enforcing agencies like the police also has a big role to play in the speedy trial and conviction of the culprits, so that a strong message is sent across that nobody can escape the law and punishment. Sir, I feel deeply hurt to learn of one incident that happened in one district of the Garo Hills. One young girl was sexually abused in the year 2015, and an FIR was lodged accordingly immediately after the incident. The police failed to take any action, nor was the accused arrested. In 2019, the same case was handed over to another police officer, and only then action followed with the arrest of the accused person after 4 years of committing the crime. 4 years after committing the crime, the accused was arrested. Shocking, sir. It is really shocking, because the arrest of the accused happened only after 4 years of the crime being reported. Sir, the Honorable Home Minister is the only man who can give an explanation to this august House. He is not there. I hope he's listening. It is shocking if this is the attitude of the police, then how can the victim and the family expect justice and confidence in the law? Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I'll give you little details on the POCSO cases in the state. In 2019, 265 cases were registered. Pending trial, 173 cases. Pending investigation, 89 cases. In 2020, 123 cases registered till the month of June. And out of 123 cases, charge sheeted only 19. And the pending investigations, 102 cases. About murder of the women, in 2019, there were 14 cases registered. And pending investigation is 6. Pending trial 7. In 2020, till the month of June, 7 cases were registered for murder of some women, and all 77 cases are pending investigations. Rape cases. In 2019, 58 cases were registered throughout the state. And out of 58 cases, pending investigations are 31 cases. Pending trial, 24 cases. And in 2020, till the month of June, 30 cases were registered for rape, out of which pending trial are 11 cases, and pending investigation is 19 cases. So, this gives us a clear picture of the lack of priority given by the police department in handling cases against women. It is really a matter of concern for each one of us in this house, and the Home Police Department should take immediate action on its own lapses. Honourable Speaker, sir, there is another sector. Honourable Deputy Speaker, sir, there is another sector which has shown complete defiance of government rules and the existing laws, that is setting up of coke plants in the West Kasil district. The mushrooming and illegally setting up of coke plants in the Shalang and the Dorangri areas has polluted the air and the environment. It has caused health hazard to the people due to the emission of carbon monoxide. So, out of 20 units that have been set up, only 3 units have obtained approval from the government and the State Pollution Board. There are 9 units who have applied for the Pollution Board clearance and are still awaiting approval. 8 units have already set up the factories without permission. 8 units have set up without permission or any documents. While these 17 units are awaiting government approval and operational clearances from the State Pollution Board, they are all functioning and producing coke at night. They are all functioning and they are all producing coke at night to avoid detection from the authorities. There is absolute lawlessness, total lawlessness, and the government is a mute spectator of such defiance and disrespect of the laws of the land. Will the government eventually regularize all these illegal activities at the cost of the lives of the people and the flora and the fauna around the area? Or will it shut down all these coke plants immediately? Honourable Deputy Speaker, sir, in the education sector, the teachers seem to be the worst affected community. The teachers in the government LP schools teaching since 1995 till date are yet to be regularized. Government is required to upgrade many LP schools to upper primary schools. Government LP school buildings across the state are in a dilapidated condition. They are all in need of immediate repairs. The border scholarship for students residing in the border areas of Meghalaya have not been disbursed since the last 2 years. When is the government releasing this scholarship to these students? Honourable Deputy Speaker, sir, I had raised the issue of the deficit school teachers in the last session of the Assembly. This House was duly assured by the Minister in charge of Education that the issues of the deficit school teachers, like salary to be disbursed on a monthly basis instead of quarterly payment, that the DCRG still remain at 3.5 lakh instead of 10 lakh, as recommended by the 5th Pay Commission, as the arrears of the revised pay is still pending for 2 years, then the retirement benefit schemes not considered by the government. My question to the Honorable Minister Education is, why has he failed to fulfill the assurance that he made in this august House on these issues in the last Assembly? He has failed to comply to his own assurances. Now, the SSA teachers are threatening to protest against the government from the 11th of November. They're seeking release of their salaries not paid to them for 4 months since July 2020. There is no other state in this whole country experiencing delay in the payment of salaries to the SSA teachers, with the rare exception of Meghalaya. In fact, most states' SSA teachers are being paid at par with the government school teachers. But the situation in Meghalaya is not the same. The ad hoc school teachers are being paid only 12,000 per month. They have been requesting the government to enhance their salary substantially. But till date, there is no reply, nor any action from the Education Department. Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, with a sense of great surprise, I would like to inform this august House that a company has been registered at the Registrar of Companies Shillong under the name of Meghalayan Age Limited. So, a company has been floated under the name of Meghalayan Age Limited. This company has been floated by 3 senior officers of the government. They are Dr. Vijay Kumar, Commissioner and Secretary Tourism, Cyril Dingdo, Director Tourism, and Robert Lingdo, the officer in the Planning Department. This company has shown an authorized share capital of rupees 50 crores and a paid up capital of rupees 10 crores. I am surprised how this company, which was registered only on the 17th of June 2020, has a capital of rupees 10 crores. Where did this money come from? Was this company constituted with the knowledge and approval of the cabinet? Whether these 10 crores have been approved and sanctioned by the Planning and the Finance Department? I have never heard of a company being floated and operated by government officials. The Registrar of Companies has indicated that this Meghalayan Age Limited is a company involved in business activities. And the official address of this company is shown as Meghalaya House, number 9, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Road, New Delhi. Now this company has called tenders for design and supervision of various tourism projects in the state. Since the same officers are with the tourism department, why this tender could not be called by the tourism directorate instead of forming a company? It appears this company has been created to flout government rules and bypass the law department, the planning department, and the finance department for scrutiny. Therefore, I feel this is very wrong practice and very unfortunate, and this should not be allowed at any cost. This company should be done away with and scrapped immediately. Let there be governance within the framework of the rules and procedures already laid by the government. Sir, I would also like to inform you that this government has appointed many consultants to assist various departments in the government, thereby incurring huge expenditures from the state revenue. What is the role played by these consultants? Have their appointments been duly approved by the cabinet? I do not understand. Why is the government outsourcing all the works to these consultants? What works are our officers doing if all their duties are being done by these consultants? Government should rather train our young officers to be more innovative and give them a platform to learn. They are our permanent stakeholders. For how long these consultants have been given to work in our state? When the government is having financial crunch, these kind of wasteful expenditures should be immediately stopped. The money paid to these consultants, which are so high, could be meaningfully utilized by the government for the welfare of the poor in the state. Our people in the villages do not have proper houses, do not have water facilities and footpaths or bridges. This money could be utilized to develop the rural Meghalaya. I can see from the statement placed on the table of the House today, sir, that there are 44 consultants which have been appointed by this government, out of which 15 consultants are just for tourism alone. Therefore, in view of all the submissions made by me, I am convinced that this government has failed to address all the critical issues affecting the well-being of the people and to protect the interest of the state in all fronts. And I join my colleagues in expressing no confidence in the Council of Ministers led by Sri Conrad Sangma. Thank you, sir.
May I request Honorable Member Dr. Ampharan Lindo to take the floor.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, I thank you for having given me this opportunity to rise before this August House in support of the resolution tabled by the opposition through the Leader of Opposition, expressing a no confidence on the performance of this government on various accounts. So, popular government should not be purely evaluated on a number game. Along with popular government, which has the numbers, must come this great expression of willingness first to be criticized, and second, to not make it a habit to always refer back to the past government. If we in the past did not make anything right, what stops this government of the day from correcting what we did wrong? Anything there? Anything stopping anyone? We have to be clear on this, sir. We are mandated by our people to stand on the floor of this house and to present our criticisms with a hope that action should be taken. Sir, I just heard a first-time MLA, a member of this august house, taking away the credit of the achievements of the past government on dealing with insurgency. Sir, memory can be short, but milestones are etched. You cannot take away those milestones. This government, sir, still has one more major group, insurgent group, still operating in the hills. And I request that some action should be taken to ensure that we don't have to go back to what our honorable friend had said was going on in the state since 2003. Sir, let us put some records straight. Past governments, future governments, all have one intention: to serve the people of the state. What we could not do, please do. And stop diverting attention from agendas that are always tabled on this house with the intention to meet with the aspirations of the public. Sir, I still personally have many contentions against the CAA. Let us not open that Pandora box. Exemption for the state of Meghalaya because it is a scheduled area? Do you know, Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, that in my constituency, I have a large area which is called the normal area. Did we not hear what Honorable MLA from Maulai yesterday brought in the question hour? That land transactions in the heart of Shillong city, sir, are allowed to be exempted from the Land Transfer Act. I think Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, in his wisdom, thanked the Honorable Member for Maulai for bringing it to the attention of this Honorable House and the government of the day. So I will not talk about CAA. I will take platforms outside this house on CAA. Because I fear that CAA is not a subject which is closed yet. I will now focus purely on what is currently happening. Honorable Deputy Speaker, sir, may I request you to please take note that when I bring up or call attention to an agenda, the intention is purely to try and urge the government to step in and take necessary measures, least decisions taken in this era will affect future generations of the future. Why do I say this? Of late, sir, so many decisions are taken by the government of India in Parliament, outside Parliament, on so many agendas, sir, without taking and consulting state governments. This trend is getting to be very dangerous. Yesterday we just had a long debate on how the environment impact assessment is going to have ramifications, not today, sir, for the future. So I'll call the attention of this government as to why I feel I have no confidence in decisions taken on certain central rules, central laws which are affecting governance in the state of Meghalaya. I call attention, sir, to the Code on Social Security 2020. Sir, as per the pre-legislative consultative policy of 2014, sir, which was formulated for the purpose of the increased transparency and better informed decisions of state, it is imperative that a draft legislation be placed in the public domain for a minimum period of 30 days. My question to the government, particularly to the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister, sir, what were the advisories sent by our government when the central government decided to go ahead with a Code on Social Security 2020? There are 9 existing laws which will now be subsumed into this one code, sir. They include, among others, I'll only highlight a few: the Maternity Benefit Act of 1961, the Employees Provident Fund Act 1952, the Employees Compensation Act 1923, Building and Other Construction Workers Act 1996, Unorganized Workers Social Security Act 2008. There are a host of other laws as well, sir, which have all been subsumed into the Code on Social Security 2020. Honorable Speaker, I would like to know, what were the advisories of our government with regards to wages and privileges due of just a few sectors in this entire gamut of Code on Social Security 2020? Has our government considered the inclusion of privileges and wages, especially due to pregnant women engaged in any form, whether contractual, part-time, permanent, or otherwise, in both government and non-government sectors? Our daily wage workers, as an MLA, time and again I see my citizens coming to my doorstep stating that they have incurred a great loss and are suffering and have to undergo huge medical procedures after having had an accident in their place of work. Many workers are unable, the daily wage laborers are unable to find any recourse to any scheme in the state, especially when they fall ill. We have just heard in the last few days how the MHIS coverage continues to be a challenge. And I feel that we need, as a state, to take cognizance of these cumulative problems that we continue to face, because we have seen that when a pandemic hits, to the extent of the hit of COVID-19, people on the streets are suffering. They have no food to eat on their table till today. Sir, has the government of Meghalaya made any efforts to move towards a right-based universal benefit for these workforces in the unorganized sectors? There are the domestic workers. How many times when I was minister, I'm repeating, when I was minister, in case you say, why didn't you do it when you were minister? We did do it when I was minister because the government of India said they were coming up with a code. And they put on hold any other discussion and dialogue on this. I was Minister of Labour, but I couldn't do anything. Now, prior to the formation of this code and the acceptance of this code, has the government of Meghalaya sent advisories on these matters? Sir, Honorable Chief Minister needs to be congratulated and needs to be credited with the important creation of the crawl scheme. In your meeting, sir, in your committee for COVID-19 review, we have heard officers saying crawl is no longer in operation because the very concept of crawl was just as an interim relief for workers in the unorganized sectors only for the lockdown period. Sir, I urge the Labour Department to look at this matter. We have to ensure that a crawl-like scheme continues throughout this period where anyways individuals are still remaining out of job and employment opportunities. Sir, we have heard when we discussed so many agendas in the last 2-3 days of session, the Honorable Chief Minister has time and again referred to the losses of revenue, the GST shortfall, so many agendas which indicate that the financial state of our state is not very healthy. I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth, but I'm just making an assessment, sir, of more or less that was what we were talking about. Sir, let me remind you, sir, pandemic COVID-19 is just a continuation of market fall. Let me recall 8th November 2016, sir. The unfolding pandemic, sir, has further degenerated and augmented to the compounding economic depression confronted not only by our state but our nation right from the impact of demonetization. I think no one will debate further on that. Since 2016, after 8th November of demonetization of the government of India, markets have fallen and they continue to fall. Now, what is the effect of the lockdowns and COVID-19 pandemic, sir? 41 lakh youth alone have lost their jobs. I remember in one of our review meetings chaired by the Honorable Speaker yourself, sir, something to the tune of 45,000 returnees have been facilitated to come back to their state. Question being asked, Are these people currently employed or are they unemployed? I am very happy, sir, that the Honorable Chief Minister, see, we have to admit, good things done and bad things done. When a good thing is done, we must admit it's a good thing. I admit that the notification brought out by this government on the 9th of November 2020 has announced the CSHU scheme, a loan-based approach. They've also allowed for a one-time grant up to 1 lakh where 10% of loan shall be given. But sir, what is worrying me as a legislator is that on the one hand, you are announcing these important interventions, but on the other side, you are tagging the word loan. When you say loan, no, they'll come back to us only, MLAs. I have to take that scheme from the government, but please, sir, madam, help me repay that loan. How can we get out of this rut? Agreed, government should never encourage public to be always given relief measures. But when situation is very critical like the one we have before us now, should not government, instead of hiring those consultants like the honorable member who moved this motion said, on consultants and crores of rupees are gone. I would like to see. It is never easy to be in government. But when a critique is brought before your purview, positively look at that critique and positively address it. Intention is never to condemn anyone or demean anyone. But this has to be looked into, sir. Whether this notification brought out on the 9th November for MSMES will really be what citizens of Meghalaya require at this crucial stage where we are still under COVID-19 and we are still under great pressure for livelihood and survival. Sir, I want to bring to your attention one more Government of India law. That to me again, sir, is not in the fitness of things to get done. The Epidemic Disease Amendment Bill of 2020, sir. Sir, why is it that there is a criticism leveled against the government of Meghalaya for having failed or having had poor handling of this pandemic in the state? Sir, let me tell you, I was very upset when in the middle of the night, when I was about to be deep in sleep, I hear some car coming right outside my locality and screaming and blaring with a huge, loud public announce system saying, so-and-so's house is now contained, so-and-so's house is now contained. They love to wake us up in the middle of the night, never in a decent hour. That is one thing that they did wrong. Another thing, sir, not only did they wake us up, but be sure when DIPR car comes means numbers are rising and government is panicking. That is the impression I got as a citizen. Right or wrong, you'll have to tell me. Was I wrong in having that perception in my mind? Sir, many families are still feeling very bad because this pandemic primarily hit its biggest in Shillong city and in Tura. I don't know whether other MLAs are feeling it more than we are feeling it. But that was not in good taste. You talk about destigmatization when you yourself, you're stigmatizing our people. You're locking their gates up. So how many citizens in the state of Meghalaya warranted that kind of a redressal? Did anyone? Were there large numbers of people who did not listen to you? Were there large numbers of families that were defying the voluntarily already agreement of advisories given by the government? So this bill was introduced in the Rajya Sabha on the 14th of September 2020, primarily to include, sir, in the Principal Act, several interventions for health workers and officials engaged in the front line. Sir, please review media reports on this matter. How many nurses were not allowed to go back to their homes? How many returnees had nowhere to go? How many families in Meghalaya, particularly the city of Shillong, could afford quarantine facilities as per the recommended SOPs? We felt it, sir. And if this continues, if the pandemic should take another sharp rise as it has done post-election in the country of the USA, how are we going to deal? We have to be prepared. Sir, I agree that crores of rupees were spent for COVID. Do you know, sir, many of my families didn't actually see the light of these rations that were being sent. Till today, sir, families have been contained. Some families are getting, some families are not getting. And when such huge amounts of crores of rupees are being incurred by the government of the day, shouldn't some minimum sort of tendering procedure be applied? So there is so much of rumors running around in the town as to who was the caterer for supply of food during the COVID period. Sir, the PMAYG, you're giving me a house. You're going to build my house, sir. But if I don't have Aadhaar, you'll say, no, she is not eligible. Let her remain poor. See, we have to understand. You want to give us a house or you don't want to give us a house? Why should be there riders of this nature? You don't have Aadhaar, I'll not give you a house. We went to Mokrwat. It was a horribly rainy day, sir. It was raining cats and dogs. We went for a review meeting. I was shocked to see so many people. I think Honorable Minister, newly inducted Minister, Speaker Sir was there also. So many people standing in line for Aadhaar registry because of these schemes. Sir, not only that, they'll not give us gas if we don't have Aadhaar. They'll not give us a house if you don't have Aadhaar. Now, they'll not give you all-age pension also if you don't have Aadhaar. They'll not give you widow pension also if you don't have Aadhaar. All these schemes are linked to Aadhaar now. Sir, they're not only hitting the common man in the strict sense. Now all scholarly related schemes are compulsorily linked with Aadhaar. Scholarship A to Z list is there. The postdoctoral fellowships in humanities, the doctoral fellowship in sciences, the national research professorship, the scholarship schemes for Northeastern region, the national eligibility tests, particularly the JRS, the PG Indira Gandhi Scholarship for Single Girl Child, the PG Scholarship for Professional Courses for STs and SC candidates. A host, sir. I can give you a separate list on this. Now, if my child doesn't have Aadhaar because I'm the mom and I don't want to have Aadhaar for my much debated agendas, are you going to deny my child from her scholarship because she doesn't have an Aadhaar. I had to go and stand in a line and get my daughter's Aadhaar done. Otherwise, she would have been denied her scholarship. So now again, government has failed me as a mom. And if you have failed me, surely you have failed many more people down the line. Sir, our systems are not yet ready for Aadhaar registries. If there was a poor woman in my constituency who wanted to avail the free gas scheme of the Honorable Prime Minister, where does she go for her Aadhaar registry? We had a huge review meeting. So many things still not in place, from machines to operators down the line. But what worries me more is the main component for online registry, and that is network. One part of my house has good BSNL network, sir. Another part has good Geo network. How many people can afford 2 networks in one family? How do they register when there is no network? Sir, the next agenda that I want to bring to your attention as to why I feel this government has failed is I had brought a motion and addressed it to your officer, a motion to talk about the vending zones. It was denied, saying that the subject was, the word they used was sub judice. Sir, if a subject is sub judice, I want to ask this government, how is it that the CEO of Shillong Municipal Board brought out on the 16th of January 2020 a notification of vending zones if it was sub judice? Your offices are breaking the protocol and you're disallowing members to discuss this. Please take note of this. The CEO had categorically said that the decision was taken as per the provisions of the Meghalaya Street Vendors Protection of Livelihood and Regulation of Street Vending Act 2014. Now, that those vending zones were declared by the office of the Chief Executive Officer of the SMB himself, when are you going to implement this entire vending zone notification? Because, sir, despite the pandemic, streets of my constituency continue to be flooded by these hawkers who will not listen to anyone because the case is sub judice. Kindly take note of this. So my next agenda is the CNRD block and the Manegra issues related. I was very, very delighted when I went to some of the districts and I was informed by the officials that the VECs now have the mandated representation, 50% representation of women. But, sir, this is happening in too few blocks. Over and above this, there was much discourse and discussion and deliberation on pending bills of materials. I don't understand, sir. Labor components of schemes have been from time to time released, but materials are pending. Who are the executors of these schemes? Are they not the community? Are they not the Rangba Shnong, the Rangba Dong? Are they not these people who are anyways part of the VEC? Now, so see, sir, what is happening is this liability which government is now creating also impacts liability of VECs and liability of community participation in this entire scheme. This is not a good idea. I don't get anything regarding to Manegra in my constituency, but I was disturbed when I heard that this was the common voice of the people wherever we went across the state. So we had talked about GST. and the compensations and the loan taken. I don't know, I did not do my homework. I've tried to do my homework, sir, but I still don't understand some things. So I'm bringing it before your attention, sir. What is this 0.5% untitled amount of 194 crores that was permitted by the Government of India as indicated by the Honorable Finance Minister and the Honorable Chief Minister yesterday or day before? So I want to know if we were allotted that much of 194 crores. I saw in one of the replies in one of the questions that we did not get that much. I think we got 20-something crores or something. Please explain to me. I've done my homework, but I've not done adequate homework to understand all these details. I'd like to know what is the GSDP of the state and what are the factors that are pulling the GSDP factor. Why are our citizens and our states not going up? What are the indicators? What is government doing to pull up these indicators? Sir, borrowing after borrowing after borrowing. ADB, some Japanese company, now RBI, so many borrowings. I remember at one point of time when I first entered politics and I was given the opportunity to represent the state of Meghalaya as a minister, there was talk about we have to first deal with this poor health of the finances of the state. Honorable Speaker, sir, I would like to also bring before this government one fact. So many questions were not attended to in the question hour, but all of the replies have been read by all of us. And there as well we have seen so many things that are happening which is not correct. Sir, so that I do not only monopolize on this time, I just want the government to know that there are a few more issues which I feel require immediate attention. The proposed shopping mall at Barik, when did this happen? What is going to happen there? See, sir, you cannot come up with a proposal and expect all people of the state to agree when even your MLA doesn't know what you're talking about. Sir, I also want to talk about the fact that there are so many issues which have become compounded and which leave me with no choice but to support this motion of no confidence on the government of the day. With these few words, sir, I resume my seat and thank you for having given me this opportunity.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for giving me this opportunity to take part in the no confidence motion tabled by the Leader of the Opposition and honorable members. I will be brief too because most of the points which I would love to speak upon has been deliberated by most of the members of this House. But to start with, I would like to request this government to immediately put a stop to the plying of overloaded trucks which are coming from Saulat right up to Umiam Dam. Because in between we have three bridges. One is at Demthring, one is at Maulai, another one somewhere there. Because if these bridges are damaged and they are old bridges, we'll be having a big problem. So overloading should be stopped. I don't know if they're illegal trucks or they're legal, that's not the point. The point is overloading will break the infrastructure which we require the most at the moment. So that's the one point I'd like to put across. Number two, sir, yesterday the Honorable Chief Minister was mentioning about his vision to build a society right from the primary level to the secondary and to the youth, where there can be productive people who will serve our state in a more responsible and patriotic manner. But how do we do this? We can only do this if we have the basic infrastructure to fulfill your vision or our vision. From the grassroots, we need to educate the people. And we need the infrastructure like schools and universities and all that. But there is a memorandum from the Teachers Association submitted to the Honorable Minister saying, our long pending grievances are stated as under. That's areas that is 75% of the revised pay is to be granted to us. The release of the second installment was promised to us before December 2019, but we have not received it. Now, if you have the very people, the very teachers who are going to educate our children not paid, then that will have a detrimental effect on their own psyche when they are imparting the education that the children need. So this I would like this government to look into immediately so that the teacher's salary and all of the government salary are paid in full and in time. So that is the second submission, sir. The third point of mine was on the supplementary demands number 5, sir. In the year 1979, just after we got a statehood, there was a creation of a corporation called the Meghalaya Government Construction Corporation. And I presumed at that time that this corporation was created in order to help the present departments of PWD to build the infrastructure of the state which was needed as a new state. However, it was going on well. And in 2003, due to mismanagement or whatever the case may be, it was almost closed down. Salaries were not being paid on time. But the reason was not that the government was not doing their job, but the corporation itself, its finances was not being controlled properly. Sir, in order to revive the corporation, the government initiated a VRS scheme where 70 employees were given the golden handshake and the rest would have to earn their salaries by the agency charges they charged to other departments. And that system continued. But this supplementary states that the fund amounting to 3,86,10,969 has been duly sanctioned by the government through an advance from contingency fund to cover the salaries of MDC employees. So this practice is very wrong. How long can you spoon feed? And why this has come to the fore is because when a department requires an infrastructure, the police department, the education department, the fisheries, who don't have proper civil engineering wings, they turn to the MGCC. Then the MGCC gives them a quotation or estimate as per the PWD SOR, and agency charges levied, and with that amount they used to pay their salaries. But what has happened now is that every department has started opening its own, having its own civil engineering wings. Fisheries department wants their own civil engineering wing. Forest department wants their own civil engineering wing. Then this department will be redundant. And you'll be left with 98 staff as of now jobless or working without pay. Sir, this corporation has done a lot of work, not only in the state, even outside the state, like in Assam, in Dargakona in Assam, in Kolasip in Mizoram, building the JNV schools. And we took a lot of pain to ensure that this department gets works from other central government departments also. But if our government doesn't realize this, that you don't have to feed them, you don't have to give them this money to pay salaries, give them the jobs, they will do it. The Department of Fisheries, that is not their job to build a building, that is to go fish, forestry, even the housing, even the police department in 2007 wanted to open a housing board. I objected to that at that time. When then Chief Minister was Dr. D. Lapang, and I told him, I said, sir, The job of the police is not to build their own buildings. And that department was not open. Otherwise, we would have had a state police housing board, where you don't need that. Now you have two options. The government has two options. Either you give them jobs, so from the agency charges they will pay their salaries, which has been done in the past few years, or you shut it down with the VRS and absorb some of the officers in the various departments who have the civil engineering. So this I would like to submit, and with the paucity of time, sir, I support the confidence motion. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, sir, this motion expressing want of confidence in the Council of Ministers led by the incumbent Chief Minister Sri Conrad K. Sangma has not been brought just for nothing, but because it was felt necessary, and we would have been found wanting in our response to call of duty if you wouldn't have done it so. As expected, our distinguished members, honorable members from the Treasury benches have defended the government, and it is only expected that every member of both sides will have to have their own role to play. I'm sure after my submission, the government will have its response to defend itself and also to articulate appropriately to counter what we submit before this August House. But here today, when I speak before this August House, I would like to place on record only facts. Not those bitter rhetoric, but only facts which is crucial for all of us. To invoke a process of thinking amongst all of us, and to have a realization of our respective roles. The role which supersedes everything else, and that role is to protect the interests of the state, inconsistent with the hopes and aspirations of our beloved people. I, like many of us, like all of us, in fact, like the people of the state, is proud of our beautiful state, a state with name and fame for good things. Proud of the legacies left by our predecessors. But today, as I participate in this no confidence motion tabled, it is with deep pain in my heart after seeing what has happened. It is also true when one is involved in building something together with others, collectively, and when it is being seen to be dismantled, there cannot be more agonizing pain. I have been in this August House since 1993. I have seen how our forefathers, our leaders, our predecessors have put in their effort. I started my innings with meager salary of just 10,000 plus. We used to travel by MTC buses. We were proud, we were happy. The first car that I bought was Maruti 800 second-hand. That also I bought from one of my colleagues, who was one term senior to me. Beautiful car. I'm still missing that car. Second car I bought was after I sold my Maruti 800 and bought another beautiful gypsy. The gypsy is still with me. It's so close to my heart. I've seen our predecessors really toiling, putting all their commitment level to build this state. We have come a long way. We must continue to do so with that same commitment. If commitment is seen to be wanting, we need to really revisit our action and take necessary measures to correct our approach. I remember when we talked about the acceptance of the Finance Commission recommendation and also the Pay Commission recommendations. I remember when we had the privilege to be part of the government together, how many times did we revise the salaries of our government employees, of our teachers, both in government sector and non-government sectors? And how we revised the salary of MLAs. Now, our distinguished colleagues in this August House, if they want to buy a luxury SUV, the banks are willing to give EMI how much? We are drawing more than 2 lakh now. How many times we have revised the salary of MLAs? As we revised the salaries of the government employees, we have also revised the salary of MLAs with all parks and facilities, which have been subsequently and correspondingly increased. Today I see all my young legislators who have stepped into this August House being able to really tour their constituencies in beautiful car, in SUVs, the first timers. I saw my even daughter buying a beautiful car. I asked her, how did you buy such a new car? Bank is always willing to come to you and then convince you to buy. I mean, this is what we have come through. Aspirations have gone up and aspirations will continue to go up. But how do we achieve and realize our aspirations and dreams? By resorting to what? At the price of what? Everywhere, whether it is in the street, in the tea stall, even the taxi drivers, the auto rickshaw drivers, people tell me what they are talking. What is the kind of conversation amongst the taxi drivers? In fact, yesterday somebody was telling me, you know, the taxi drivers are excited. Some of the shopkeepers are excited that this government is going to fall. I received a number of calls. I haven't heard this kind of communication whenever any NC was tabled by anybody. But this time, people were happy. I told them, I don't know what's going to be the outcome. The media, the press, friends from press fraternity wanted to know. But as usual, we say, you'll know in the House. Now, what is the priority? Why are we here? One can be happy. One can be forced to act like happy. This is exactly what is happening in this August House. One may be defending it with full enthusiasm, with full commitment, and many may be defending it because it is necessary to defend, because we belong to both sides of the house. But the fact is that, are we really keeping our commitment inconsistent in what is expected from us? I have few things. I find it very, very painful when the state is looted. And how, in this era, you know, brilliant ideas have somehow come from somewhere, and then there are beautiful script writers to engage in various irregularities at the cost of the state. I was trying to know how, you know, this kind of scripted modus operandis have somehow managed to penetrate into the corridors of power. We try to speak on power sector. Now, power sector is in a serious condition. You've looked at how many decisions have been taken to bail out, and how many decisions will continue to be taken in the days ahead, will have to be taken. Number of decisions will have to be taken in the days ahead, in the years ahead, to bail out this MCA because of what is happening. Now, we talked about how modus operandi are scripted with a complete sense of impunity, with complete disregard to our concern for the state and the institutions and bodies that belong to the state, belong to the people of the state. I would like to remind ourselves of the similar special motion which was tabled here. with your permission, in the preceding year, in respect of Subhagya scheme. What happened? The original sanction amount, based on the schedule of rates, which was revised then, which was for different packages. First package 173.6 crore and second package 179 crore. Both the packages awarded at alarmingly high rate, more than 50% above. Now 173.60 crore comes to 270 crore. 179 crore comes to 284.6 crore. And I'm told that they're still continuing to revise it to increase this expenditure within the scope of similar works with few manipulation like they have done for Danol hydroelectricity power project. These are amazing instances of corruption. Now one may say, okay, how do I say that, okay, Subhagya, there was a predetermined motive to really cause injury to MECL at the cost of the state exchequer? I have the evidence here. Now, I have not seen in my course of innings while I had the privilege to be in the government, whether as a minister or as a deputy CM or even as a CM, nor have I allowed anybody to do so. The courage to lie, even before the court, even before the judiciary. It's amazing. I have not seen any politician or any officer having that courage. And they still think that they can go scot-free. No, they cannot. You will be surprised to see how in the court, the MECL, as a petition to defend, when the aggrieved party filed a petition before the Honorable Court, alleging predetermined manipulation to award the contract to predetermined selected bidder. Match fixing, well scripted. You know, you need brilliant people to do so. I remember I was talking to one lady. She gave me a call I received. She was virtually crying over the phone. I asked her, what happened? She said, sir, my 2 lakh rupees which I deposited in the bank after selling my plot of land to my brother-in-law and he deposited in my bank account has disappeared. I tried to know what happened. I told her to go to the police, go to the bank, send some people to the bank and talk to the bank manager, find out what is happening. Then I spoke to one lady who is dealing with security system to be provided to the government, to the bank, to financial institutions, with some multinational company who have somehow developed that art of really protecting the whole security system against various cyber crimes. Then I was told, you know, there are quite a number of highly intellectual, highly educated in technology who have come together and opened office in some of the areas, some of the states in the country. Some are in Jharkhand, some are in Bihar. In fact, I was told about the name of the places also. One can go and see. That is what she was telling me. How they try to cheat our people who have money in the bank. That's why I don't use credit card myself. I'm really scared because one day when over the dining table when we were together with my wife and my daughter, suddenly she saw an SMS. Thank you for purchasing blah, blah, blah from US. That's a complete hacking from the credit card. Anyway, she managed to get it back from the State Bank of India. So this is what is happening. You have too many people who are available if we want to utilize those criminals. If we want to utilize those people from outside who can come and script amazing modus operandi to be adopted to milk the state. In response to that petition, of the aggrieved party whose tender was disqualified. The MECL pleaded before the Honorable High Court, and High Court stayed the whole proceeding of the tendering process. But subsequently what has happened, amazing. Subsequently, MECL, the respondent, filed a petition saying that an application on behalf of the applicants, respondents, praying for permission of this Honorable Court to recall the cancelled tender, because before the court, the MECL, having known fully well that they will be caught red-handed and they will not be able to defend, good sense prevailed. There was a decision in MECL to really cancel the tender number MEPDCL/CE within bracket D /Subhaikia /2018-19/TKC/4 dated 26/9/2018. To cancel the tender. Subsequently, what happened? They didn't have to cancel the tender because the petitioner ultimately withdrew suddenly. This is the modus operandi, Mr. Speaker, sir, which I am referring to. They have been able to say that, okay, the petitioner has withdrawn, so go ahead with the allotment. Now what happened? There was a turmoil in MECL. Senior officers were scared because they will be caught one day. They can't go scot-free. This government may defend them now, but they will not be able to defend. This chair is not permanent. What happened then? The CMD was transferred immediately. And another officer was put as a CMD to execute that scripted modus operandi. And that is how the whole process of looting is going on in MECL. Now look at another way. Very interesting. So many ways have been scripted. I only know how criminal mind works. Because unless we know how criminals work, you cannot defend. Unless we know how the thief can enter, we don't know how to put the security system. That's why I have learned how the criminals operate, how these kind of script writers operate, to adopt modus operandi, to milk the state, loot the state. These outsiders, one that Satnam, and there were two contractors. Another one was, again there was a match fixing, who never had any background, another party in western part, in Garwils, awarded. At that rate I have referred to. What has happened subsequently? Very happily he has withdrawn the work. And very happily MECL has awarded the work to the same company called Satnam. He is available in the corridors of your Meghalaya Secretariat. He is the most frequented man in the Meghalaya Secretariat. Very respected man because he gives directions to the officers also in front of the minister. That is what I have been told, and some people have provided me those informations. Now, we have worked so hard to ensure that the various externally aided projects come to the state, take years together to get their approval, ADB. You know what we did? We invested 5 crore initially to start the smart metering, to tell how we should be actually enabling people to get the billing and how we can also adopt technology to really make MECL efficient enough, because MECL is so crucial. It's the fuel that gives that whole energy for the state for its growth and prosperity. Now, what has happened? These ATB programs where this tendering has been given, very interesting to see this particular These are the proceedings that will be captured. Therefore, it is very important, Mr. Speaker, sir. Now, whenever there is a tender, obviously because it's an e-tendering process, many of these renowned companies come, participate. Oh, there's a beautiful program as an offshoot of long-drawn effort by both the state governments and government of India and the various financial institutions who provide support under EAPs, externally aided projects. Same tender in this e-tendering, lots of renowned companies have participated. But very interesting when we see most of the companies who have been rejected technically in one group, but the same group is again qualified in another group. Have they submitted different papers in their bidding document? Are they so novice? Now, who are those companies? Big companies, including Tata Projects also. So many big companies. But they were also all technically rejected. How much of discussion, negotiation, and match fixing must have happened? You know why I'm saying this is because you look at the rate at which the work has been shows at the financial bidding. In the first one, for the package 1, which was 84 crore, the lowest, that is L1, is 104.84 crore, 24% above. For the same work and similar nature, that in another group, it is 31.78% below. That means a gap of huge, 56 crore, 56%. In one tender, it is above. Same time, different package, it is below. Now there is a process of so-called price determination before an award is given. During the process of tendering. Why? Because we want to protect the interests of the state, so that you don't allow the precious resources of the government to be looted by anybody. Now you look at how was the price determination agreed to when in one group there is a tender which is below 37.78, that is in West Khas Hills. And in the district of East Khas Hills, it is 24.8%, which is the more difficult area to work. East Khas Hills or West Khas Hills? Similar in East Garo Hills and West Garo Hills. Above in West Garo Hills, below in East Garo Hills. Where is the price determination? If somebody has quoted 31.78% below the total tender value, the MECL should have gone for further price determination. This was not done. The result is award of contract as per this manipulated bidding, and to ensure that what they have done, as I have said, they have in the technical bid happily made people to not contest, because even if other bidders don't contest, then it's end. They will say the other bidders, they were technically rejected, but they have decided not to protest because of the match fixing. Now, how this match fixing is done? Obviously, how this modus operandi was scripted. How will you find out? How will you find out? Because the government will defend. They will defend tooth and nail. How many crores we are talking about? And what is going to happen in the long run? ADB will one day tell that in your state so many irregularities have happened. Meghalaya is not eligible anymore further for externally aided projects. We are going to destroy the future opportunities for the state because of the greed of few at the cost of the state. Is it not the responsibility of each one of us then to ensure that we protect the interests of the state? That's why in the text of the motion, we have said, which sum up everything is to indicate that the government has failed to protect the interests of the state. Interests of the state must supersede everything else. I've gone through a number of judgments of different honorable courts, including High Court and including Honorable Supreme Court, in respect of this kind of irregularities, where officers were ultimately convicted for failing to protect the interests of the state, even in absence of any evidence to indicate that there was a quid pro quo. Even in the absence of being able to prove in the court, during the proceeding, absence of any malafide intention. Now what is going to happen? All these innocent officers who are victim of this well-scripted modus operandi involving various, criminal mind, what is going to happen to their children, their family, in the days, in the years ahead? Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, is it not the responsibility of each one of us to put an end to this? We cannot put an end because they have the government of the day, whoever must have directed, has created a very unhealthy, unconstitutional precedence. And that precedence is forcing organization of the government to file an affidavit and file a petition before the honorable court, before the judiciary, which is completely false, which can be proven in the court of law. People say law has its long hand. Now, these are all too many points. I am only giving the tip of the iceberg. Too many. And what happened to that smartphone? A smart meter? One. No contest. Who is the beneficiary? We have to find out. The government has to tell. Because if I say, then they will say, I have already replied. So this is the scripted modus operandi, which is creating a very unhealthy precedence, which is destroying the state. Now, where is this money going to come from to pay this escalated amount? Where is this money going to come from? ADB, what is the proportion? The central share and state share? Do you have money? During our time after 2014, the normal funding pattern under EAP, which was 90:10, was changed. It was made to 50-50. We took up with the government of India. Because as northeastern states with scarce resources, with limited source of revenue, it will not be possible for the states to proceed further to avail all those benefit of the programs which are under the externally aided project by various financial institutions, be it World Bank, be it Asian Development Bank, be it Japanese International Corporation Agency. How many projects are in the pipeline? Thousands of crores. Have we worked so hard to create a pipeline to have these programs to satisfy the greed of few at the cost of the state? Now, what is the proportion in respect of the funding pattern? After we took up, Government of India was very smart in saying that, okay, 25 is to 75%, agreed, but the rest, 75 also 15%, still states should bear. So you calculate 25% plus 15%, how much it comes. State has to give the matching state share for all this extra money which has been channelized to benefit these companies who have been smart enough in scripting this whole modus operandi to rob our beautiful state of Meghalaya, to rob the resources of our state, this beautiful state which we love so much. I left my job because I knew it's no point blaming others for not doing anything. So let me take care of the responsibility to take care of the agonies of the people and address them by being part of this democratic system. Now, when these are being dismantled with complete sense of impunity, it really pains. It really pains. And I'm the architect of number of power projects in facilitating the sanction and clearances. The MECL had ambitious program to tap all our available resources to generate power so that entity is self-reliant, so that state can grow and prosper, because energy is crucial, power sector is crucial. And therefore unbundling took place. We were part of this whole system, and what is the ultimate responsibility of the government? To complete the process of unbundling. Whatever we have done till the time, till 2014, subsequently, this unbundling process and the associated complication, how is it going to be handled by the MECL, this important organization, when every time when they find that one officer is resisting, they keep on transferring. Now who transfers? I say that when that after the petition was filed before the Honorable High Court to recall the tender, and when the officer concerned, after pressure, did not agree not to recall, but to proceed further with the tender, cancellation of tendering, the CMD was transferred. Senior officer. Who transferred that officer? Power Minister? No. Chief Minister. Chief Minister. I found it very interesting when there were lots of halla gulla, even in the ruling, blaming only the Power Minister, Home Minister. You look at number of transfers. Transfers after transfer, I have said this, I have made this submission in this August House. DCs are transferred, SPs are transferred. Transferring of senior police officers are governed by law, the Meghalaya Police Act, which we have taken pain to pass, in order to ensure that the Meghalaya Police actually remains capable of insulating itself from all criminal tendency of or influenced by any extraneous forces. Whether it is to influence the course of a case, whether it is in the process of influencing the police to somehow be silent spectators and allow illegalities to happen, which is happening now. And to regulate this, the check and balance. How many times have the government held the State Security Commission meeting? The leader of the opposition is also a member. During my time, we passed this act. Because police is also a part and parcel, inherent part of the administration of justice. It's not only for dealing with law and order problem. Administration of justice. Now investigation, charge sitting, and then lack of it, what happens? Criminals get emboldened because the law is found as toothless because of delay in investigation, because of delay in judiciary, because of the delay in charge sitting and subsequent process of law by the judiciary. That's the reason why the states were met, respondents, to comply with the requirement of completing the whole process of administrative reforms. Now, these administrative reforms also include separation of judiciary from executive, and we were the fastest amongst the states in completing this separation. Everywhere you see construction of judicial building happening. Now what has happened now? What is happening to this police? I am very disturbed. We don't do any witch hunting. During our time in 2018, there was many instances of cases. We wanted the police. Prior to that, many instances of cases, we wanted the police not to be disturbed, SPs not to be disturbed, and selection of the DGP through a due process inconsistent with the Meghalaya Police Act, which is also again an offshoot of the Honorable Supreme Court's monitoring administrative reforms, which was adopted by all the states in the country, not just Meghalaya. This whole thing has been trampled upon. I know there are many smart people across the globe, not just, we don't talk only about our country, but I have referred to some of the smart people who are using their brilliance, knowledge in technology for criminal activities. Similar thing is happening all over the world. You know, some of the people who have come together to extort people by pretending to be law enforcing officers. One very important news thing which was available in national media was about the internal revenue services of the United States of America. Now this modus operandi, people pretend themselves, people disguise themselves as officers of internal revenue services and go after all those people against whom they have all the compilation of irregularities in tax payment, and they're threatened. Either you have this irregularity, they make a call. It's a bulk SMS call which is provided. It will go to the targeted citizens of United States, in mostly NRIs. I went through this whole script in the past, how this is being done. When in Meghalaya, similar case was detected. What has happened to that case? During our time, we wanted to ensure that, okay, we aren't seen in doing witch hunting, because I'm referring to a case, a very high profile case, where some of our youth who were supported by a government scheme and trained outside in the name of skill development program were trained to have the whole tax to act like IRS officers and to engage in call center to send the bulk messages. This case was unearthed in a number of the places across the globe. Similar thing also unfortunately happened in Meghalaya. The case number, Litumukra PS, case number 134/2017, registered on 28th of August 2017. We are talking about unearthing the truth and discouraging criminals by ensuring that the administration of justice is not perturbed and defiled by anybody, so that administration of justice comes as a deterrence for all of us, all the people who have the tendency to engage in criminality. Now, what has happened? When I followed this case, without pointing finger at anybody, suddenly something alarming has happened. Transferring of the police officers. And it is so amazing that the SP concerned, in fact, indicated that this officer is engaged in investigating a very high profile case. And I'm referring to that case that I have indicated, that Lamukra. And you know what happened? The officer concerned IO was transferred, in spite of the fact that that IO actually had an ailing father who was suffering from cancer, and he is the only son, and also had a bereavement in the family where he lost his dear mother. This is how we deal with officers, by trying to influence the process of investigation. And this is exactly what is happening all across. Now come to the allegations of illegal mining and illegal transportation of coal. With this, I will ask the House to see whether it is necessary for us to take a call to protect the interests of our state or not. Now, what is the reality? We all know the reality, The people in the coal mine area, people along National Highway, they all know what is happening. Everybody knows. In fact, number of representations after representation by various organizations. I just saw a copy of many of these representations submitted to senior officers, including Chief Secretary, where allegations are there in written that so much of money is being spent to transport. Somewhere they say 80 to 1 lakh. And after that, again when they cross the border, sometimes when they can't cross the border, they have to dump their coal somewhere in border along Assam-Meghalaya border. And somebody sent me all the photographs which are available in my mobile. All. Geotags. What is happening every day? Now, who will verify it? Is it the responsibility of common man or an MLA, or it's the responsibility of the government in view of the fact that the role of the government is to protect the interests of the state? Who will protect the interests of the state? When government wants to vehemently stonewall this whole process of investigation. So, until this government remains, state will continue to be rocked on a daily basis, on hourly basis. Now one may say, what is the proof? Because I heard during the press interaction and all, let them come with a proof. Proof everywhere. If you want proof, it will be more unpleasant. More unpleasant. But it's more pleasant when the government acts upon it, because government is vested with that, not just power, but the responsibility. Now, recently I have gone to Jingïatynjuh Hills, based on a representation which was submitted as a copy to me by one of the civil society activists. As per the RTI availed by him, as per the information availed by him through RTI, in the month of June, 141,000 metric ton of coal was reported to have been detected after the assessment order by the divisional mining officer in response to the order given by the DC, which was in response to an FIR filed by one of the residents of that. As per the call of duty, I wanted the DC and the DMO to verify every lot. Every lot, that means scattered in truckloads, were dumped in around 5, 6 big bus. One truck like that. It took a long time for us to count. DC and the DMO were counting. Media became restless. They said, sir, we have to go. We are national media. I said, have some patience. After counting, I told DC, you give me in writing. What is the total number of the vehicles, truckloads? 1,064 truckloads in different lots, 1,064. Calculate at somewhere it is smaller lot, somewhere it is bigger, 12 metric ton. I asked some of the people who are quite acquainted in assessing. I asked the DM also, what is the likely this thing, because you always do volumetric. So it'll be around between 12 to 16 metric ton per truck. Multiply it by 1,064. What is the balance? Where have all 141,000 metric ton gone? Is it not the responsibility of the government to find out? Have anybody transported it illegally without paying the royalty? Is it not the responsibility of the opposition to really protect the interests of the state? Is it not the responsibility of the members of this August House and the people at large to protect the interests of the state if this is what is happening? Now, we talk about 32 lakh metric ton. I was watching the proceeding from the room of the LO, replies to coal mining activity. CM himself was replying. What is the reality? You look at affidavit filed before the Honorable NGT, subsequently to the Honorable Supreme Court. By the time when NGT ban came, the ban on illegal mining and their transportation by Honorable NGT. The miners were given an opportunity to indicate as to how many miners have their coal deposit, so that we will know how to allow them for transportation with the permission of the Honorable NGT. This exercise was directed, therefore, by the Honorable NGT. And when people compiled and indicated their lump sum quantity, it was huge. It was very huge, rather. Then, what is the process of law? The process of law needed the authorities to go and determine, and that was the direction given by the Honorable NGT as well, which was expected as per the legal requirement. So initially, the whole compilation was around 1.2 crore. Subsequently, some people became more adventurous and then probably indicated, oh, I have also. So it became 136 lakh, 37,707. Now, as required by the law, it has to be assessed. Officers went to the nook and corner of all the coal-bearing districts and gave an assessment report, which came to 65,81,147 metric ton. That was the total figure which was submitted before the Honorable NGT. And government pleaded in support of the coal miners, please allow them to transport. Honorable NGT came up with the whole guidelines, how it should be transported, how measurement must be done, how the royalty should be taken, and various others has, and ensure that all the extracted coal are kept in conformity with the guidelines given again by the NGT in line with the environmental requirement. Now what has happened? This was allowed to be transported within a stipulated time, and miners always could not complete the whole process. They came up with an appeal before the Honorable NGT. Now what has happened? After that, subsequently, it was Honorable Supreme Court who, because NGT said that no more extension of time, miners went and sought the intervention of the Honorable Supreme Court. Now here, ultimately, government had to file affidavit indicating how much of the balanced coal is available in the coal-bearing districts after the transportation was allowed. Now, unfortunately, what has happened is that though the total transportation which was allowed by Honorable NGT automatically should result in declining order in terms of the quantity of the coal, subsequently in 2017, it has come to just over 1 lakh. This was supported by the same government, the incumbent government, through its affidavit before the Honorable Supreme Court, indicating that the total quantity of coal is 1,76,655 metric ton, as per the report that was made available, that is by 31st of May 2018, during this incumbent government's time. Now, how that 32 lakh has come is a different question. The government submitted inventory before the Honorable Supreme Court that there are 32 lakh metric ton of coal across different coal-bearing districts. And therefore, Honorable Supreme Court said, yes, auction it. I will be winding up with this.
Okay, thank you.
It's more like a chart sheeting, so it's not so easy also. So now, this 32 lakh metric ton, it's the inventory of the government. Now the question is that the Honorable Supreme Court has given directive that this should be auctioned by the CIL under the supervision of the NGT committee, and the proceeds should be given to the owners of the coal based on the inventory after deducting various costs, including 10% to the Coal India Limited as an administrative charges for auctioning. Now, why is the delay? Now, delay, if we go through the proceeding of the NGT committee, we see that there is a culmination of various proposal which was not inconsistent with the Honorable Supreme Court judgment and order. Therefore, the Honorable NGT committee appointed by the Honorable Principal NGT disagreed that it's not inconsistent with the judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court, because there was also another scripted modus operandi being attempted, and that 32 lakh metric ton. Today, I was told by all the friends from different districts that 32 lakh metric ton doesn't exist. What has happened? Government has, that means, closed its eyes, allowed lifting of these 32 lakh metric tons. And the result is that there is less coal in those coal-bearing areas, which is contrary to the exact figure which should have been there now as per the inventory submitted. Is it not necessary, therefore, to find out the truth? Is it an allegation just for the sake of allegation and blaming the government? No, it is not. It is not. It is necessary, therefore, complete the whole auctioning of this coal at one go. Why are you delaying? Now, after the Justice Kataki, who was the chairman of the NGT committee appointed by the Honorable NGT, resigned, then the whole proceeding again was dovetailed as what the government wanted. What is the result? The result is that the principal, meaning the Honorable NGT, the principal body, rejected this proposal for the delay. And during the process, what is happening is there what is being seen by people across the state. Therefore, you will end up seeing that these 32 lakh metric ton will not be there when the actual auctioning takes place. And there is one of the modus operandi, that delaying of complete auctioning. That's why they are having a breakup, 75,000 somewhere, 50,000 somewhere. These are not blind allegations, but these are because of the evil intent, what is scripted in the whole modus operandi of the government. Now, therefore, it is necessary for all of us to protect the state. How much time we want to give to this government who is robbing the state? How much time? I have seen when there are criminalities and illegalities across the world, the countries who have allowed it have crippled economy. Unemployment problem, unrest. It's happening. You look at even what is happening in Latin America and many of the countries. Are we going to create that environment? Job is gone. How many employment opportunities have been created? Even the vacancies in the police, whatever is there is not filled up through recruitment. Where is the job going to come? These vacancies are being filled up by transferring all those cadres who are part of the SF-10, which was raised to really have a special battalion which is insulated from other pulls and pressures of policing and be capable of dealing with the challenges that may confront the state from time to time, and that is how we neutralize militancy, terrorism. Today, I'm happy to hear the MLA from Gambigri, honorable member, referring to the better situation. Yes, better situation. I don't have to move with Z plus security now. Government has been very pleased to immediately revise it. Yes, I travel alone nowadays sometimes. Earlier also I used to travel. I am a night rider, even while militancies were there. When there were lots of attempts to ambush, nothing happened. God has always protected me. I am insulated by the blood of Jesus. I would like to also insulate this state of ours from all these criminalities. Things are not good, Mr. Speaker, sir. Last year, in my Songsak constituency, 2 boys with AKs, police, because people informed, police could catch them. Similar thing. In Asakri, in South Garo Hills last year, I spoke to the police. I spoke to the senior officers. This is what is happening, because I get the inputs before others, even while I was here. I used to get inputs even before my police officers. And that is the kind of network that I have. So I know what is happening. People with gun were spotted moving in Southwest Khasi Hills. Also in West Khasi Hills. The person who have always enabled our frustrated youth to form militant outfits and insurgent outfits are still at large. How many times Drishti Raj Khawa from Ulfa was detected in different parts of Meghalaya? And today, in spite of knowing this, or maybe they don't know, because they may not be even reading the inputs coming from the police in DSI, or maybe the DSI report may be so blank, they may not be getting the inputs from the ground zero. Because police have been transferred left and right, here and there, DCs are transferred left and right. They want people who should close their eyes and be blind to what is happening and not stop this whole scripted modus operandi of robbing the state. Now, I leave it to this August House, to all my distinguished honorable members of this August House. Why are we here? Why are we here? I know it's very unpleasant, but state is being looted. You want more proof? I can give more proof. It'll be, as I've said, it'll be more unpleasant. But I would like to submit through you, Mr. Speaker, sir, to stop all these illegalities at the same time. Don't create a precedence where people will think that, okay, to loot the state, one has to become a politician. I'm afraid now, as a leader of a party, as a CLP leader next time, how many people will ask for party tickets who might have the same intention of looting the state, becoming dangerous for politicians? I am going to be really, really looking at that kind of unpleasant situation in the years ahead. Officers will be thinking, okay, if I'm posted there and here, I'll be able to loot as an agent of those greedy politicians. There'll be a nexus between the officers and the politicians. We will have a vitiated environment in the state which will not be really, really the kind of state which we want to leave behind for our children and our grandchildren. We need to look at our families, our children, our grandchildren, and generation next. Yes, we love them. We will all go empty-handed. We don't need so much of money. Yes, we don't need so much of money. Let this greed stop forthwith. I am telling what I am telling, and what I am telling is the truth. Everybody knows. We are wearing, today I have worn suit because I have trimmed my hair. But why do we wear better clothes? Why do we buy better car? Why do we build better house? We want to be able to live with our head held high, with pride and dignity. And there's a kind of pride and dignity we want to leave behind for our generation next. They will speak, oh yeah, my father, my great-grandfather were architects of this beautiful state and left behind this wonderful state. But if it is the opposite, I'm sorry. We must correct it. I therefore appeal to all the members of this August House to invoke a process of thinking and self-realization through you, Mr. Speaker. This government has to go. There's a new government needed because this government will stonewall. This government will definitely defend now. Talk about other things. We know how to defend. We all know, but the truth is truth. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, through you, I once again urge all the members of this August House. I know a whip has been issued by MDA, but this whip doesn't work. You know, only political party can issue whip to their respective members. So nobody will be disqualified. This is the time to say, okay, if I want to save the state, everybody knows. All the 60 members know what is happening. Not only me. Yes, I heard the member from Rongara Siju, honorable member from Rongara Siju, my younger brother. What he says there and what he says here, completely different. You know, that's the truth. Completely different. All other friends who have spoken here, same actually. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, it's time to protect the interests of our state. There is no other responsibility and duty that is vested upon us except to protect the interests of the state. People have had faith on us. They have given us mandate. We have been elected by them. Let us do justice to their mandate. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm sorry I could see you looking at adjusting the time because many members have spoken. And in fact, I had requested many of our members from the opposition not to speak. I have to apologize to all of them subsequently after the House is adjourned. But I hope they will bear with me. But the bottom line is, I think we are with the same intention to serve the state, protect the state. With these few words, once again, I appeal to all the honorable members of this House to support this motion, expressing want of confidence in the Council of Ministers led by Sri Conrad Kesa. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now I will call the Leader of the House, Chief Minister, please, to reply.
Sir, I would like to first of all thank the opposition for actually bringing this out, because it does give an opportunity to the government, not just the opposition, but to the government also to really communicate and clarify a number of issues and communicate to the people the kind of things that have been done in the past 2.5 years. But having said that, it's very surprising. I think in whatever memory that I can remember, this must be most probably one of the first no confidence motions where before the voting the members already have given up and said that we may not win this no confidence, and they have already accepted defeat before even the voting. So it's a very unique case, I should say. But nonetheless, as I said, it gave an opportunity to everybody. Sir, I would also request if the members, I'm sure they will not disturb, but through you, sir, I would request if I'm not disturbed during the course of my reply. Sir, I think I'll start off with just a basic few aspects on the discussion that we're having. Some members mentioned that why should we compare? That this government always compares from the past and now. But I think it's important to compare, because that's when you see the difference in what's happening and what's not happening. And it's also very surprising to see the way the opposition would like to use its words to take credit for something if it is good and to blame us if it's something bad. Very, very, articulately they always ensure that if something went wrong, then it's this government that did it. But if something has gone right, it was us who did it in the past. So we should remember, governance is a process. Government will come and go, but the process of governance will continue. And that is why it's always referred to as the government. Whichever party or whichever person was there, it was always looked at as a continuous process, and we should always judge everything with the same yardstick. So that's a very, very important point I want to mention before I would start my reply. And so before I even go into all those aspects, I would like to say that there were some incidents today that took place in the House, and I think it is appropriate as the Leader of the House to mention that these kind of incidents should not happen in the future. We are here representing the people, and the entire state, I think, is watching us as we speak. So I think we should give a good example to the people that we act responsibly. And yes, we may have differences, acquisitions, but that's fine. That's part of the democratic process. But I think we should respect each other and we should maintain the decorum. Having said that, sir, I would like to go on to touch some of the important issues which have been mentioned during the course of this discussion. Sir, a number of times there were a number of members from the opposition who mentioned about law and order situation. In fact, one of the members from the opposition even mentioned that the last 2.5 years has been one of the worst periods when it came to law and order in our state. The member also mentioned that in the last 2.5 years, Meghalaya's overall law and order situation has gone down to one of the worst in the country. So let me just reflect some numbers to show what is happening in the law and order. From 2015 to 2017, 66 militants were killed. In 2018 to 2020, during our government, 3 militants were killed. 66 during that time and 3 during this time. 36 civilians were killed from 2015 to 2017. And during 2018-20, only 4, which is sad. Not even 1 should have been died, but I'm just comparing the numbers from 36 to 4. 9 police personnel were killed in 2015 to 2017. And in 2018 to 21. Civilians abducted, 210 in 2015 and 2017. And in 2018, 2020, 0. 0, sir. I think the numbers are clear in front of everybody to know what the law and order situation has been. I think numbers speak. You can have your opinion, you can say what you want to say, but I think numbers are very clear. They talked about crime against women. From 2017 to 2018, there was a drop of 33% in the cases in crime against women and children. 36%, 33% drop. Again, the POSCO case, from 2017 till 2019, there was a drop of 13.1%. Sir, aren't these indications to show that clearly the law and order situation has been improving in the state? A lot more needs to be done. Nobody is denying that fact. But I think we are clearly seeing the situation improve, and it's very, very misleading and wrong on part of the opposition to say that the situation has been worst in the past 2.5 years, and we are at the bottom of law and order situation. So some of the members were mentioning about communal tension and the fact that there's never been a situation in the past where the communal riots or communal tension took place. I would like to draw the attention of this House that in 2013, there were bombs, petrol bombs that were hurled onto the puja pandals in Rebhoy and in Umsning during the puja time. I'm not saying that we are doing great work or anything, but at least by God's grace, our pujas this time went off peacefully. But in 2013, there were petrol bombs hurled on puja pandals in Rebhoy and Umsning. In 2017, similarly, in Laban, in Nongminson, in Rinja, in Lumdiangji, on the May 27th, again, sir, petrol bombs were hurled. Again, sir, on June 25th, 2017, at Ladshap in East Khasi Hills, a shop of a non-tribal was burnt, sir. Sir, these kind of situations have happened in the past also. What I'm just trying to say is for you to just simply point a finger and say that situation has just changed in 2018 is again incorrect and misleading. There have been many instances, and I can go on, sir, I've got a full list of incidents, but I think I just want to make my point clear about the fact that in the past 2.5 years, the law and order in the situation in the state has improved drastically, and I would really like to congratulate our police personnel who have been doing a tremendous job, the former minister, the current minister, and all the bureaucrats who have really ensured that law and order has been maintained to a large extent in our state. So coming to another very important issue which has been mentioned by the honorable members is regarding the illegal coal. And every time the opportunity is given, they get up and talk about illegal coal that is, according to them, it's there. So let me just clarify that all the honorable members have been saying that every time we go, we see the different vehicles, a number of trucks are passing. Sir, I have already clarified in the explanation that I have given to the House earlier that the coal that is being sent right now is through a process of seizure. And therefore, the coal is being seized. Whenever there is an application or information that comes through the people in general about coal that has been lying, the government and the administration swiftly acts on it to ensure that whatever action has to be taken is taken, and we immediately seize the coal. So therefore, these are provisions that are there in the guidelines of the MMDR Act in section 21, and it is based on that these particular seizures have taken place, and it is based on those seizures today. In fact, sir, the revenue that has been coming in has been multifold based on these seizures. The reason is very simple. Number one, that there is a revenue that comes in from the coal sale itself, because that coal then belongs to the government. So we don't only get the royalty and the cess and the GST, but the value of the coal also comes to the government of Meghalaya. So it's an increased revenue that comes to us, and it is much more. In fact, the revenue that is coming in is much higher. So this is also an important aspect which I thought I should bring it to the notice of this particular, of the House, sir. So therefore, having said that, I think it's important, sir, to understand that whatever process and whatever guidelines have to be followed are being followed. And today, all the trucks, any kind of coal movement or transportation that is taking place legally, with proper procedure and all the documents that should be there, and there is no illegal coal movement. Everybody in the opposition and sometimes in the media, they try to make it look as if every truck that is moving is illegal. So they just see any truck move and they say, oh, that's an illegal truck. So that is not the way to assess. So documents have to be seen. We have been very, very clear, very particular. We have had task forces, joint operations taking place from all the departments that are continuously monitoring this entire process. And we have the media itself who does the monitoring for us, NGOs who do the monitoring for us. And all will see that documents are clearly available. So let me draw the attention of the House to the issue of illegal coal. Now, once again, sir, again, I am not comparing, but I am compelled to mention these facts in the House. In the audit report for 2013-14, audit report of for the period of 2013-14 to 17-18, the report clearly mentioned sir, that illegal coal is being transported. This was done in the audit report, sir, not by Meghalaya government, but the CAG report mentioned, to the tune of 27.87 lakh metric ton of illegal coal was transported during the period 2013-14 to 17-18, sir. And this amounts to a loss of over 180 crores to the state revenue. Now, sir, it's very surprising to see that it is very easy for the opposition to forget that during 2013-14, 17-18, it was during their government time that these things happened. Now they speak about all the looting that has been taking place and the loss of revenue and the future of our children. I don't know why you didn't think about this in 2013-14 and 17-18 when this illegal transportation of coal was taking place. So therefore, Mr. Speaker, sir, as I said, it's easy to forget that there was a time when you and the government was there, not you, sir. The opposition was there. When the opposition was there as a ruling, and during their time, similar things happened, sir. So when it comes to coal, I think the House may be made aware that even during January 18, 2018, as close as 2 months to the election results, there was 6.9 lakh metric ton of coal, which was then sent for assessment after some people had made applications. 43 people had applied for this coal. Now let me tell the House, sir, when this 6.9 lakh metric ton of coal application was given by certain individuals to the government then, there were no GPS coordinates of those locations for the assessment report. No GPS location. No declared quantity was mentioned by the coal owners. And this application went directly to the NGT without the NGT committee. And very surprisingly, when the final allotment was made and challans were given, out of the 6.9 lakh metric ton, 5.4 lakh went to a certain agency and a certain company who again has got different links, and I do not want to take names out here, but 5.4 lakh metric tons of that amount was given. What happened to process then? What happened to procedure that time? What happened to the entire belief that the state is being looted? How can you give an assessment without the GPS coordinates? Match fixing. Sir, So maybe there was match fixing in that. I'm not very sure, sir. But sir, it's important, and I don't want to take names, sir, because I don't want to get personal into these matters. But these are for the people to see. But anyway, sir, having said that, what is important to understand is that coal plays a very important role in the economy of our people, as mentioned by Mr. Rakam Esangma. Whether challenges we faced, different NGT orders we got, we as a society and as a state and as a government, it is our duty to ensure that wherever we can help and legally move forward to ensure that the coal economy or the sector can revive, it is our duty to do that, sir. But after 2014, when the NGT ban took place, this NGT ban, which was given by, the Honorable NGT, the opposition, which was ruling and then, did not bother to take up the matter to resolve it. In fact, at that point in time, if they had immediately gone to the Supreme Court and immediately challenged the order of the NGT, maybe our miners would not have to go and suffer so much. But we don't know what the reason inside is. Again, maybe match fixing, sir. But we don't know the reasons why they did not challenge this. It is only in 2018 when our government came in. We took the initiative to discuss with Government of India. Not only that, when we realized that this has to be taken to an aggressive level of challenging the order, we challenged it in Supreme Court. And after challenging that order in Supreme Court, sir, we were able to deliver justice, not just to the coal miners, but to the people of our state. And the reason is that the court order said that the land, the surface and the subsurface belongs to the tribal people. This is the reinforcement of our right over our land, sir. It is a landmark judgment that went in. And this is to the commitment that we have made to the people, which was being referred to by one of the members from the opposition, that we went and gave a commitment that we will lift the ban, and we didn't do anything. I think the honorable member forgot that they didn't do anything for 4 years, and it was during our time that we actually went ahead and we took this step, and that is why today, sir, the Supreme Court has allowed coal mining to take place and said that the surface and the subsurface rights belong to the tribals and the owners of the land. But yes, as responsible citizens, we must follow certain procedure. We must follow the Environment Protection Act, we must have the Mining Safety Act, and we must follow the MMDR Act. So therefore, sir, these aspects are very important. Sir, having said that, sir, there were some points that were mentioned regarding the Umiam Lake and the dam that is there and the concerns over it. Sir, let me assure the House that both the MECL as well as the mining department and the district administration and the police are watching over this entire aspect, and we will ensure that whatever movement takes place is done within a safety procedure and within safety level, which is what has been instructed to the MECL, and only on the basis of that are any movements being allowed. It has happened in the past. It's not that it's something new that's happening, but I think I take the suggestions given by the members positively. We must be careful, and I can assure the House that we will be careful about this aspect, sir. Sir, coming to certain issues regarding health services, and I think though there was not much mention about it, I would like to put it on record today, sir. We had a detailed discussion about the 399 crores that was spent. And a lot of people questioned the 399 crores. Sir, I would like to place it on record that the government spending 399 crores should be seen as the government's commitment to ensure that the people of the state are safe. I don't think it's right for us to look at this from a cost-benefit analysis point of view. So we feel it and we do it whenever our family members are not well. We don't think and question twice that whether we should take the person to the best medical facility or not. We will take. It may cost us, but we will do it. Why? Because we realize that health is important. So therefore, sir, this 399 crores that we spent has been spent in the interest of the people. We have touched 5 lakh citizens of our state through this. We have been able to build 25 corona care centers. We have been able to increase the beds from 600 to 1800 beds in the state today for corona, any kind of situations. And in these corona care centers, more than 13,000 people have stayed for more than 10-15 days where food has been supplied to them free of cost. All these things do cost money, and I strongly feel that the government is very well prepared even for the future. We don't know how complicated things will be in the future, but we strongly feel that these investments we have made will help us face different situations from COVID or any other ailment or the overall health sector in the future also, sir. And I think if you look at the responses that are coming in social media regarding the kind of facilities that were provided, the food that was provided, so there is no question that the quality was of the highest level. And all citizens of the state and those who experienced it have expressed their happiness over the quality openly in social media. There are individuals who criticize the government. Those individuals have also thanked the government for the different facilities that were provided in the Corona Care Center. And I must take this opportunity to thank our health minister and the entire team of health workers, the entire frontline workers, for having done this tremendous job of ensuring that we are one of the lowest number of COVID cases in the country today. Sir, having said that, I would like to touch a bit on the agriculture aspect of things also. And in the last, in the opening remarks mentioned by one of the honorable members, he had mentioned about 9.02 crores of scheme being desanctioned. So let me bring it to the notice of the House that, number one, sir, I have to say it because it is a fact, but I hope he doesn't move privilege against me, that he did not do his homework well, sir. Now, this 9.2 crore schemes have been sanctioned, some in 2000, 2001, 2002, all the way to 2014. 50 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 1 crore, and the schemes were never implemented. So this money has been lying with the department for 20 years, some schemes, and not being used in a proper manner. So what did this government do to ensure that we use the funds in a proper manner? Yes, we desanctioned the schemes, we got the money back into the treasury, and we have now reallotted that money back into the agriculture department so that that money can be put to good use. So these were monies that were lying for many 20 years in the department. So I think it's important to understand that it's not just we just desanctioned it and left the scheme. Absolutely not. Money has been resanctioned. Today, if you look at the different missions, we have sanctioned almost 5 crores for 4 missions. That is amounting to 20 crores. We have sanctioned about 3 crores to give interest subvention to our farmers who have taken KCC loan. We have sanctioned 4 crores to provide power tillers at subsidized rates to our farmers. We have sanctioned 10 crores for food processing plants, which will be then given to the young entrepreneurs and the farmers. We have invested 10 crores in apiculture, which is honey processing and a honey breeding center. We are going to almost give 25,000 households 200 crore loan at 0 interest rate through the piggery mission that has been initiated by the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister and the Veterinary Department. Apart from that, today, markets have been set up in Lumrapleng market, the Ladsmith market, the Shiliang Soyong market, and like that, many other markets have been set up. And the Honorable Agriculture Minister himself in the last 6 months, in spite of the challenges, has been going from village to village, trying to figure out how he could improve the overall status of the farmers. And these different interventions have been only made possible because of the interventions made by him. Today, sir, you'll be happy to know that the broomstick that the farmers used to grow, after we have categorized it as a non-forest product, and so that it's an agroforest product, so people don't have to take a TP from the state government. Today, the broomstick price is at 120, 130 rupees. It never went up more than 90 rupees. So for the first time, our farmers are getting these kind of prices. So I think we must realize that the Agriculture Department has been doing a tremendous job, and in the next coming few months, you will see more interventions that will take place in the agriculture sector too. So coming to a very, very important sector for us, which is education. And so in education, I must again put on record the commitment that has been shown by our Education Minister and the department to transform education. We have always said that education is a priority for us, and it always will be. And the reason is very simple, sir, that we feel that education is the key for the future generation to, as I said always, to be productive and to be able to add value to the state, to their families, and to the country as a whole. Apart from the fact that as soon as we came into office, we ensured that we went ahead with the education policy which had been pending for a very, very long time. And this education policy is what is driving us today in the direction to improve the overall education sector. So, realizing that through education, we can transform our youth, who will further transform our state as a whole. We realized that there was a lack of infrastructure at the grassroots level. Let me give an example, sir. Out of the 2,000 plus, almost 2,500 elementary schools that we have, 70% do not have proper infrastructure. 70%, sir. And I have mentioned this in the past. Realizing Memorial, Warit, Langtor, Paryong, Domisiat, Buripara, Kanduli, Modimai, Kongla, just to name a few of the LP schools that need immediate intervention. And so in the last 2 years, wherever we could source the funds, we have taken funds from MOTA, from NEC, from state budget, and we have been able to give basic infrastructure and additional classrooms to over 200 elementary schools. And now, this year, we have decided that the numbers will be increased to 200 every year. So from this year onwards, 200 LP schools will be improved every year, for which we have decided to keep a budget of over 300 crores to improve the LP schools in the next 3 years. Apart from that, sir, in 2008-2009, we had provincialized 3 colleges, namely Bakmara, Captain Williamson Sangma Memorial College, then Sora College, and William Nagar College. And it is sad to see that the fact that these 3 locations absolutely required this particular intervention. It was sad to see that after 2008, the governments did not pay any attention to these colleges. These colleges were functioning from the same building that they have been for the past 20 years. I was in Sora that day. They were mentioning almost 30 years, 35 years they've been functioning in the same infrastructure that they had from the beginning, sir. And therefore, when I visited Bakmara College, I saw the condition of the college. There were some locations where the floor was missing on the first floor. I went to the first floor and I could only see the jali. There is no more RCC left out there. You go to some of the rooms inside, you could actually see the pillars breaking. And really, sir, I was listening to one of our officers speaking the other day. he talked about how he went to Rambai school. And when he went there, he realized and he could feel the pain of what the students were going through. So this is the kind of reactions you get when you actually visit, and that's why Cabinet on the Move is important, because you need to see this with your own eyes. That's when you realize. And when the education department came forward and said we must improve it, I said, what will be the cost? They said we need 12 crores per college. Sir, it did not even take us 5 minutes to make the decision. Immediately finance and education sat there, planning sat there, and we decided to sanction and give approval for these 3 colleges. And I'm happy to inform the House that these colleges will come up in the next 24 months. So apart from that, there was a lot of talk about community colleges. And yes, a lot of work had been done, but the decision to actually sanction the post, decision to actually give the money was sadly never taken, sir. It was only when we came in, realizing how much the financial impact will be, we worked through the whole thing, and I must give credit to our education minister. It was a very, very difficult decision, but he decided and he was very firm, saying, sir, we need these colleges. And we worked on the financials, and finally the approval was given by this government in the past 1 year, and now these 9 community colleges also will be coming up. So apart from these, sir, if you go, I don't know if you've ever gone that side, sir, but you go to Karkuta. I don't know if the honorable member from Mausangram, when he was mentioning that he was in Karkuta last time. Have you gone to the higher secondary school in Karkuta, sir? Sir, there are no windows. There are no doors. In some places, there's no ceiling, no roof either. They are functioning without furniture. This is a government higher secondary school. You go to Resu, the Honorable Deputy Speaker was telling me that half the building is, in a dilapidated condition. You go to Dalu Higher Secondary School. The Honorable MLA from Dalu is right here. And he will tell you what a dilapidated condition it is in. Rambai Secondary School. Honorable MLA had taken me, Honorable Minister, who is also the local MLA, had taken me in 2018. And like the officers who were completely taken aback, when I saw Rambai School, I said, how can the children study here? And it is the only secondary school in the whole of East Jingïatynjuh Hills. The whole of East Jingïatynjuh Hills, sir. Sorkar Higher Secondary School. Therefore, we made a conscious decision, keeping in mind our focus on education, that we must give priority to education. Sir, I'm happy to inform you that we have sanctioned funds for Karkuta 4 crores, Resu 2.5 crores, Dalu 3 crores, Rambai 3 crores, and Sorkar 3 crores to build up new buildings for these higher secondary schools, sir. This is our commitment to our future generation. This is what we talk about commitment. Not just speech and lecture, sir, but actual action and actual work. I just heard one of the members mentioning about the work that the government is doing to help the returnees. What have we done for it? Sir, I'd like to inform the House that with Government of India and through the intervention of NEC, that Meghalaya government will be spending 7 crores to give 1,000 units financial support. More than 1,000 units of returnees will be given financial support to start their business here, to do something that they like to do. And for this, the government is mobilizing, and if necessary, more investments will be made in this line. But we are starting with this investment of 7 crores, which is going to come in, and more than 1,000 beneficiaries of returnees will be benefited with this amount. Apart from this, Honorable Member again was mentioning about, from Laimukra was mentioning about the loans, the micro loans that we had discussed. Sir, I would like to clarify that when you start a business, one has to realize that there has to be cash inflow. Some of the cash is your own cash, some maybe government will subsidize, and some you have to take financial help from banks. This is how business works throughout the world. So there has been a lack of, I should say lack of interest or the risk-taking factor, where a lot of the youth have not availed financial loans from the market. So therefore, Government of Meghalaya has gone for a special intervention, where we are not giving loan, but we are giving incentive as a grant to the individuals so that they can take further loans. So if somebody takes a loan, the government will give 10, 15 or 20%, of that amount as a grant so that they can use that money to repay back that loan. So it's an incentive which we're giving, not as a loan, but to encourage somebody to take a loan. And I'm happy to inform the House that we will be spending 18 crores from our budget to achieve this, and 34,000 youths will be benefited by this plan of ours. So at the same time, continuing with the aspect of youth and the aspect of ensuring that these micro units come up, entrepreneurship has been key for this government. And we have ensured that we push entrepreneurship at every level. So it's very, very clear. Government cannot be doing business. We are very clear about that. Government should be a facilitator. Government should be a policy maker. And government should be something that is going to create the ecosystem. It is the entrepreneurs who will drive the engine of growth for the state and for any country, for that matter of fact. And that has been the economic model that has worked in most parts of the world, sir. But sadly, there has never been a push towards ensuring that entrepreneurship picks up. Our government realized that gap, that vacuum that was there. And that is the reason why we started by recognizing some of the young entrepreneurs who have struggled and just come up on their own. And that is why we came up with what we call the Meg Era Award. It's a Meghalaya Entrepreneurship Recognition Award. The idea being that let us give a pat on the back to some of our youngsters who are doing good. And we gave them financial support. We gave them training from different departments to ensure that they can upscale their business so that they can become models for others to see, so that they can also be more inspired and do bigger things. So this award was created. And apart from doing these awards, we also went for a competition to promote the spirit of entrepreneurship. And we called it the E-Championship Award, where 50 entrepreneurs were selected with the best business ideas. We had 700 entrepreneurs who participated in that program, and out of them, 50 were selected. And even today, the government is working closely with them to help them and others through them so that they can come up in entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship has been key for this government. And apart from that, we have come up with different centers, incubation centers and prime hub centers in different parts of the state. And we intend to take it all the way to the grassroots level, sir. So here, I would like to make a very special mention of one very important project that we plan to go forward with, sir. So this is in line with the youth policy. So we have realized that we are doing so many things when it comes to the youth. Education, which is just one part. Sports, which is just one part. Entrepreneurship, which is just one part. Like that, there are many areas. Health is very important. Giving counseling to them is very important. Ensuring that teenage pregnancies are reduced. Ensuring that substance abuse is reduced. These all need to be connected with the policy. When the policy comes in, it will connect these dots. And I had mentioned about this in the last time I had replied to one of the motions, I think, on teenage pregnancy, that we are going to come up with e-coupons. Now, these e-coupons is going to target all the youth of the state. Our intention of the government is to be one of the first states in the country where we will ensure that every youth has a skill. We will ensure that every youth is allowed to follow their hobby and their passion. How will we do that? I'll take 2 minutes to explain, sir. We intend to give 6 months coupon for a sport that you might like to train in, and a 6-month coupon for a skill that you might want to train in. So there'll be a skill coupon and there'll be a hobby coupon. And you'll be allowed to train for 6 months under these two programs. 1 month, 1 month, 1 month. And we will roughly give about 1,000 rupees per coupon in this. So 12 months program divided into 2 parts. And this will be targeted for children who are between the age of 13 to 16 or 18. The idea being that any period of time between 13 and 18, you can avail these coupons. You can take these 6 coupons and you can start learning music. Now, I know that I think half this room knows how to sing, and half, maybe at least 30% of this room can play a music instrument. But can you actually read music? You can't read music. It's just natural for us. But imagine if I can start reading music. maybe I'll be able to upskill that talent of mine and be able to take it to a new level. So why can't we have a 6 months training program where we will be able to train this youth who's into music? And if I can learn music in 6 months, which is possible to read music, I think it'll help me in the future. It'll upscale the talent that we have. Now, how do we plan to do this is also very important, sir. So similarly, we'll have the same thing for skill. I may want to learn a skill of making a mask or stitching a mask. I may want to go for a skill of repairing the mobile phone. Any skill, but every youth must have a skill. This will be the policy that we're going to come up with. And every youth must follow their passion for 6 months. Football, well, we'll train you football. So this is first part of the policy. The second part of the policy is there will be service providers who will train these youth. Now, how does this work, sir? This works because these coupons of 1,000 is not going to go to some outsider. It's going to go to a service provider here in Meghalaya. So the youth between the age of 25-35 will become these service providers. We expect that we'll have 1,000 of these service providers certified by us. And these service providers could be a footballer. He will come and he will take a certificate that he is allowed to now give training for football. These youth who want to learn football can then go to this service provider, give the coupon to him or her, and then train football for 6 months, and we will pay that service provider. This serves two purposes. One, it takes care of the youth between 13 and 18 who will be given the skill and allowed to follow their passion and hobby, and it will create employment for about 10,000 people who will become service providers. And this money will go to them. We expect anything between 30 to 50 crores will be invested in this, but this will go a long way in ensuring that we direct the energy of the youth in the right direction. And I think this program, will be one of the first in the country. I don't think any other state has it. And we have really studied the models in different parts of the world to come out with this very unique and innovative model. And we'll be discussing this with the Government of India for also financial support. So this youth policy will have these kind of interventions in it, and it will also connect these different dots of entrepreneurship, health, counseling, because we want to ensure that these counseling centers are there in every district, in every block, and colleges and universities. We also want to ensure that the service providers are all over the state, not just in Shillong or Tura. We'll try to ensure that there will be at least 5-6 of them in all the districts that are there, and if possible, we'll go down to the block level. It has to start in a phase-wise manner. It cannot just simply happen, but this is the prospect and the idea that we're moving forward with. So having said that, I would like to come to a very, very important subject, which is infrastructure, sir. So here I would like to just mention a few aspects of infrastructure. So what I mentioned in the beginning of my speech and my reply was saying that governance is a continuous process. As a government, we have not tried to sideline the old projects that have been started by the past government, because governance is governance. If something has been started, it is a duty of the government to complete it. Therefore, though there were a lot of challenges, and though there were no financial resources, no planning that was put in to how the funds will be raised to complete the projects that were started earlier, we have tried our best to ensure that we come out with funds, resources from our different areas to be able to fund these projects. Nongstoin Water Supply Scheme, 134 crores. Only 56 crores has been spent, and it has been just lying in limbo. Just small steps have been taken to complete it. So we have taken a decision that we will be funding the rest of the money that's required to finish the Nongstoin Water Supply Scheme, and this process will start this year itself with an investment of over 25 crores for this financial year itself, sir. Similarly, Rimbai Water Supply Scheme. I went in 2018 and I saw that, and I asked the Honorable Minister, how long have these pipes been lying here? He said these pipes have been lying here for 10 years now, sir. Similar to what Silsila MLA had mentioned. And so when I went and I saw the reservoir and I saw the pipes lying, I said, no, this is a waste, and we must ensure that the money that has been spent should be properly used. And therefore, we went ahead, and almost 10 crores has been spent in the last 2 years to ensure that the project is revived again, and today the work is started. We are hopeful that work for Rimbai Water Supply Scheme will also finish very soon. Tura Water Supply Scheme. Again, an investment made, but work half done and just left. So therefore, when we came in, we realized that these are important. So therefore, there was a necessity to invest another 35-40 crores And immediately after coming into the government, after the then MLA, who is now our Honorable MP, and the Honorable MLA from North Tura, when they came and submitted the memorandum, we immediately accepted it, and the Tura water supply, the augmentation of the supply is today almost 100% complete. Similarly, sir, there were model schools that this past government, who is now in the opposition, had started. And this started in 2011 and 2013. 16 crores spent, and then project was left. No money, everything stopped. What do? We could act as a very, very tough ruling versus opposition and say, no, we will not do this project. But that's not the attitude we have. If the work is started, we should try to complete it. I'm happy to inform this House, sir, that we have agreed to sanction the rest of the 16 crores required to finish these model schools that are there, that have been just lying pending. And that's the kind of attitude that we're working with. Residential schools started in 2011-12, 28 crores spent, and again, nothing happened. You go and in a lot of locations you'll find that these residential schools, no work is happening as of now. So we realize that these are assets that, though the planning was not there earlier, though the government just decided randomly that we'll have this, but no idea where the money will come from, they did it. The intention was good, planning was bad. Nonetheless, sir, it's our duty to continue the process and complete it. I'm happy to inform the House that to complete these residential schools, the government has decided to give the necessary funds, starting with 10 crores this year itself, sir. Sir, another very important aspect which we have been really focusing on, which I think the Honorable Member had mentioned, was regarding bringing administration closer to the people. And therefore, a decision was made that we must go for district and mini secretariats. Now, sir, this is not a new concept. It's a concept that has been there from the past and is happening in many other states. And the idea is that the public should not have to go to different locations, and the entire service should be provided under one roof. So if you can have in a district all the concerned officers along with the Deputy Commissioner's office under one roof, then the people will be able to easily access the government services that they need. So with that in mind, sir, we have taken a conscious decision that we will be having mini secretariats or district secretariats, one in Jowai and one in Tura, sir. And I have visited the location in Jowai. I'll be visiting the location in Tura in my next visit out there, sir. Apart from that, sir, I think this is a very important announcement, you can say, or also very important information that I think we want to give to the people, which is that for long we have been in Shillong city in terms of the congestion, in terms of so many offices being out here, which is leading to overall congestion for the state, for the city of Shillong, sir. It is time that we move forward and we take the administration into an administrative city where we have all the offices in one campus. We have the different buildings for the ministers and the MLAs in one campus area, so that we're able to provide, again, as I said, better service to the people, and at the same time decongest Shillong city also. Now this, again, idea has been talked about in the past, but we, for the first time, are going to take concrete steps towards it, and this is one area that we are working very hard on. Shillong deserves it. People of Shillong need it. We need to decongest Shillong, and this will be one of the major steps forward to decongest Shillong city, sir. Sir, certain members had raised about the issue of mishandling of the COVID situation, saying that the food was not there, the food was cold, some people did not get. So these are the same people who just about 2 days back were saying the government did a great job. So suddenly when the no confidence comes in, we are bad now. So it's they have to make up their mind, sir, what it is. But having said that, sir, it's not surprising, because as I said, the operation was so huge that it could not be that we'll get everything perfect. You cannot get 100% perfect when the operation is so massive. So yes, we had challenges, but I think if you were to look back, you would appreciate the work that has been done by all the stakeholders, all the people who are involved, especially the frontline workers, who have done a tremendous job in ensuring that, we were able to a large extent, provide safety for our people, and at the same time ensure that we were able to reduce the cost, make it more efficient, and provide good service to the people. So therefore, yes, sir, it's not been easy, but I think we must give it to the team. They have done a tremendous job, sir. So here I would like to just touch on one very small issue, which is very, very, I think, important to mention, that there has been a lot of talk about IMR and MMR and the fact that it's been very high. Sir, it is important for the House to know that there are certain MLAs who held position of the MD of NHM when they were in government service. They were the MD of NHM. And in the year 15, 16, 17, while those individuals who are now MLAs here, who were MD of NHM, the IMR and MMR was one of the highest that time. So that time they didn't do anything. That time they didn't do anything, but today they're saying all these aspects. Now, sir, it is important to also note that there were certain NGOs. Sir, I'm asking, sir, not to be disturbed. Sir, we didn't disturb anybody. We didn't disturb anybody, sir. Sir.
Please.
I seriously object, sir. No, I cannot accept this kind of allegations coming. Sir, this cannot be accepted, sir. Please. I want the Chief Minister to take back these words. He has been repeating this kind of words since the last few days.
Please take a seat.
No, sir.
Let him finish his speech.
No, sir. Please ask the Chief Minister to take back the words.
Let him finish.
No, we cannot allow that, sir.
Let him finish.
So these are not my words, sir. These are not my words. These are words made by NGOs. NGOs have made this word, sir. And they have said in the petition that was given to central government, saying that certain officers who were involved in this were going away from the duty and actually were doing political work rather than doing their official because they plan to contest the next election. This has been said by NGOs, sir, not me. And it has come out in papers. So I think one should look back at the fact that you had the opportunity to make a difference. You see, you could have made a difference if you had focused on what you were meant to do at that time and not prepared for political gains. I mean, you're free to do it, but don't then come to this house and then now point a finger to us and say we didn't do anything. So therefore, I think it's important, sir, that they should mention this. At the same time, sir, these officers concerned were also in social welfare. And at that time also, there were a huge work for making prefab structures of amounting to 22.5 crores for 500 prefab structures by the same officer. And during that time, sir, the report that is out is that they could not finish the work because these were ill-conceived structures which were not at all viable. But we ended up spending 22.5 crores to do this. So I think, sir, one should remember their past and their history of where they came from and then realize that they had also done their mistakes. And there's a lot of information, sir. I don't want to go into details about all those aspects, sir. So coming to just another one or 2 points, sir, then I'll be concluding. So there were some allegations, sir, regarding this company that was floated, saying that there are officers who came together and floated the Meghalaya Age Limited registered company. So let me inform the House that this is a normal procedure. It has to be done. The EAPs that are coming in, this is an EAP for tourism for 700 crores. It requires us to form this SPV and a company so that the implementation will happen. So the banks that give us some money put this point, and it is more easier for them to work with this, and that's why this is the process that's being followed in most of the EAPs that we're getting, depending on the banks that are there. So these conditions are there, sir, and the consultants who are brought on board to work on this are all consultants which is being done through a national tendering process. And also I would like to correct the honorable members that the authorized capital was not 50 but 5 crores, and the paid up capital was not 10 but just 1 crore, sir. Sir, having said that, I think our honorable member from Penthon Mukra had mentioned about the aspect of teachers and the fact that we have to, oh not Penthon, sorry, Nong Tumai, I'm sorry. Nong Tumai, sir, Nong Tumai, I'm sorry, sir. From Nong Tumai, regarding the teachers. And sir, I think I would like to place on record that I appreciate his point, and it is true, sir, that we need to take care of our teachers. If we are here to improve the education sector, we need to. And I can assure the House, sir, that we are taking a lot of steps. It is not easy. That's the challenge. It's not easy to do it. We have maybe close to 50,000 teachers in different categories. And therefore, whatever we do, if we do it in one sector and don't do it in other sectors, it is a challenge for us. So it's not very easy. It's a very sensitive issue. But with every step, we're trying to untie the knots and ensure that all the problems that are there, those which are solvable, we are trying to resolve those issues. Regarding SSA, some teachers had mentioned, sir, we should realize that SSA is a Government of India sponsored project. Money comes from them. It is not a state-sponsored project. We give our, of course, share of 10%, if I'm not wrong. But apart from that, the entire money comes from there. There are certain procedures we have to follow with them. Only when Government of India releases the funds, then only we are able to do it. But I was informed by the Honorable Education Minister that keeping in mind the issues they're facing, we try time to time to release in advance from the corpus funds that we have in case the money does not come from Government of India. So therefore, these things have been looked at, sir, and I can assure the House that we will do our best under the circumstances and challenges we face to always see that we can improve the overall condition of the teaching community because they are a very, very important community. I think it was mentioned about the MGCC also. We will definitely look into that aspect, and I think it's a very positive suggestion that was given by the Honorable MLA from Nong Tumai. So with these few words, sir, I think I'm here just to give a broad idea of how we are doing as a state and how we're taking forward. And it's very surprising, sir, that to see that the opposition has mentioned a lot of points about the state government right now, not looking back at how things have been during their time and how things have improved during our time. And today, sir, in fact, the Honorable LO has been mentioning that we should all realize that what is happening and we should go for this motion. So on the contrary, I will say that you should realize now that how much this government is doing, and all of you from there also should support this government for the work that we're doing. They have said that we have failed. They said we had failed. If we have failed, sir, then how come there is no abduction of civilians from 210 during that time to 0 today? 0. How come, sir, if we have failed, how did we manage to lift the ban on coal, which they could not do for the past 4 years during that time? If we have failed, then how come the COVID numbers are the lowest in the country today in our state? If we have failed, then how come we have started the assembly project, which they could not do for the past 20 years? If we have failed, how come we are investing 1,300 crores in education? If we have failed, how did we get to 1,700 crores for PMGSY? Sir, if we have failed, how are these 40 MLAs supporting this government today, sir, I ask? If we have failed, they have supporting us today, sir. And if we have failed, sir, why did the Public Affairs Index of 2020 rank us as the second best governed state in the country today, sir? So therefore, using big words and connecting dots that could be from this angle to that angle and creating your own story for it doesn't make any sense, sir. Let us look at the facts. Let us see what is there on the ground. Let us see and accept. Let us accept it, sir. So the members from the opposition should have a big heart. They should accept that, yes, there is development taking place. Yes, there is work happening. There's nothing wrong. You don't have to be shy for it. But we are here open to listen to your suggestions and take your suggestions and make sure that we move forward in that. So therefore, sir, with these few words, I once again would like to urge the honorable members from the opposition to withdraw this motion, and I would urge them, in fact, to support this government and be part of this great story of Meghalaya, of this transformation that is taking place, and be a part of the productive way in which we can make a difference in the lives of our people and our citizens and our state as a whole. With these few words, sir, I would like to resume my seat. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I must appreciate the patience of each one of us in this August House from the morning 11 a.m. onwards till now. And in addition to that, to also listen to various initiatives of the government, which was obviously expected. Now, when NC is stable, it is expected that there will be allegation. Now, allegations which are based on fact has to be scrutinized by the government and take cognizance of. Otherwise, the purpose gets defeated. And another part is that the government of the day will naturally be expected to defend itself. And the Honorable CM has tried his best to defend. Now, there are 2-3 things which he got wrong. When I talk about price determination, he has to understand what do I mean by price determination. It's a standard nomenclature used while selecting a bidder through a bidding process in a transparent manner. Now, he got the figure of 248,1119 crore, two different figures, 119 and 248 crore. 116 and 248. He must be aware of the story of Ganol project. It was tendered 2017, foundation stone laid in 2017. 2007. What happened subsequently was known by everybody. The work tendering process, since we were not in a hurry to allot prior to the election 2008, it passed on. We were never in a hurry. Subsequently, what happened was that the whole process was kept in cold storage. But we needed this Ganol hydroelectricity project, the first of its kind in Garhwals, 22.5 megawatt. So we revived after 2009, after we had the privilege to come back to the government with all of you. Mr. Speaker, sir, you are part of the government. Then we revived it. There is a time when the whole DPR has to be worked out. There is the difference. Suddenly you see 116 crore, which was supposed to be completed in 36 months. That was the target given. Ultimately today, we are seeing the fate of the project. So the price determination is when we try to get the best offer from the contractors through an open, transparent bidding process. That is what price determination is. Not the difference between the original tender value, which was prepared few years before the subsequent tendering process, which was required because the earlier tendering process, ultimately there is a validity period by all the bidders when they offer their bid. So it has to be revised. And the result was there was revised estimate, there was increase, but no scope, no separate, that so-called geological surprises or anything was come across during that process of time. And the work went on. In fact, I personally was appreciating the endeavor of the generation company. Some of the officers have put their hard work in following up this program. We wanted to give a dedicated fund, and from RIDF, dedicated fund was actually tied to this program so that it can be completed on time. So this is where the difference between the price determination exercise and the reference to this Ganol project. The Honorable CM may please refer to this and find out the chronology and history of this project. So what price determination I was referring to was the glaring manipulation. That chart sheet I have submitted before this August House was pertaining to the recent tender under ADB, including the metering project that is already submitted before this August House during my process of submission. So there is need for the government to come clean on these allegations. That is one part. Then another part is on the coal. I'm aware of those audits. It's a natural process. It's a legal constitutional requirement. So that auditing is done and the departments respond and corrective measures are taken and required to be taken. Who is denying it? We don't deny. Whenever there is a discrepancy brought before the government is duty bound to process further to ensure that it is correct. These are the process. That's why we have a provision of having a CAG in the constitution so that there is an independent process of auditing. Now, here in my submission, what I have said was a case which gives a prima facie evidence of disappearance of coal in respect of the one which I have personally visited, accompanied by other distinguished honorable members of this August House. Officially, not in a clandestine manner. 1,41,000 metric ton was the report submitted by the divisional mining officer in response to the enquiry ordered by the Honorable Deputy Commissioner, ordered by the Deputy Commissioner of West Jingïatynjuh in response to a complaint lodged by one resident. Where is that reply for that? What has happened? If in the month of June this year, there were 1,41,000 metric ton, where have they gone? Who have taken it? Who have transported it? We don't know. Because the whole machinery is under the command of the government. So it is only the government who will find out. That's why the government has to find out. Now there is a complete refusal to even find out. And I have also referred to one of the representations submitted by the Association of Coal Miners from Jingïatynjuh, where the allegation is very clear. 80,000 plus they have to spend for transportation of coal, for buying of chalan. What does it signify? Therefore, these allegations are not coming from me. These allegations are important for us, because if this is the case, then something serious is happening which is against the interest of the state. Then another one, coal and lignite is concerned, conveys its consent, making MMDR Act 1957 as well as the Coal Mines Nationalization Act 1973 non-applicable in the state of Meghalaya. Ministry of Home Affairs may take appropriate decision with regard to making MMDR Act non-applicable in respect of other minerals in consultation with the Ministry of Mines. This is for other minerals. For coal and lignite, not only MMDR Act 1957, only to the extent of coal and lignite would have to be made non-applicable to Meghalaya, but the Coal Mines Nationalization Act 1973 would also be required to be made non-applicable. Ministry of Coal conveys its consent for both these acts. Signed by R.P. Gupta. These are culmination of this law and order exercise which was with the involvement of all concerned in this August House. Both ruling and opposition, including the people. Now, based on this, we were supposed to be even exempted from MMDR Act 1957. What has happened? Is it exempted? So what type of hard work the government has done is exposed from here. And also lots of other correspondence which is available in the file of the Chief Minister as well as the Department of Mining and Geology, including the PM office. So these are available. Now let me finish.
We're not having another debate here, sir. It's
no. You have to come clarify. You have to clarify on this.
I think we should put the thing to vote, sir.
Yeah, you have to clarify on this. So today I am saying that this part I have not referred to, but he is alleging my government because we had the privilege of being in the government earlier. But that decision was taken collectively in this August House, and the culmination of that has paid price. Today, unfortunately, the government failed to get that MMDR Act 1957 exempted. That's why today, though there has been huge applause.
2015, and you had 4 years, 3 years to do it. Why didn't you do it that time? This letter was in 2015. What did you do in 16? What did you do in 17?
All the records
what did you do in 18? You did nothing
file.
about it. That's the reason why we had to go to court. Because once the letter came, why didn't you do it then? What took you so long to do it? You had 3 years to do it, but you didn't do it.
May I request you, Mr. President? Please,
Mr. Speaker,
please
sir.
take a seat. Let the dialogue.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in course of the reply, the points that I have raised in respect of whatever is happening against the interests of the state was not replied to. Now, whatever irregularity has been detected in the regular process of auditing will continue to happen, but there was a process put. There was a process put. Now,
Please, Honorable
now
Minister.
where is the stand of the government in respect of those few glaring things that I have brought to the notice of the government, including to really come clear on the allegation that 32 lakh metric ton of coal, which was submitted in the inventory, does not exist in those coal-bearing districts anymore. So these are the allegations that has been placed before the August House in the interest of the state, to protect the interests of the state. And about the law and order, we definitely have gone through this turmoil of lawlessness and problem of militancy and terrorism. Yes, everybody paid a price. But the culmination of the collective effort involving people, civil society organizations and the religious organizations paved the way for this peace that we restored. We need to sustain it. And I'm amazed to see the government of the day taking credit on this. Taking credit on this. Not giving credit to anybody else but then to the government. It's a culmination of collective effort of all those friends. How many hundreds of youth came overground, joined the national mainstream because of that endeavor? And did we leave any insurgent for this government after our tenure? Is there any militant outfit now? Is there? Did we leave any militant outfit? How many militant outfits were mushrooming then when we took charge? We have forgotten this. And so shamelessly taking credit for this. Take credit if you can sustain it. Sustain it. We will all give credit. But I'm afraid it is going to be really a challenging task for all of us if we cannot sustain it. Sustain it. So these are few important things which I want the CM to come clear on this before we further proceed. And on the allegations of those amazing way of scripting, the kind of modus operandi to cause huge loss to the government exchequer by the power department.
Speaker, sir, a small clarity on the...
Very short, please.
Just very short, sir, very short.
Very short, yes.
Sir, very short.
Yeah.
So this is relating to that agriculture money that has been surrendered. Honorable Chief Minister said that I have not done my homework. Again, this homework word is being repeated. But, sir, I will not go on the homework thing.
Yeah,
what I want
specific.
to tell you, sir,
yeah.
that all these documents is from the Public Accounts Committee, sir. We had summoned the Agriculture Department. Agriculture Department officials have come and they have given all the details. And therefore, sir, this is my homework. And I want to tell the House that this 9 crore 2 lakhs 934 was actually a report given by the Agriculture Department themselves to us in the PAC, sir. Plus number two, sir, I take strong exception of the sweeping remarks made by the Honourable Chief Minister at my cause, sir. Sir, please, let me.
I didn't take any names.
Please, let me finish, sir. Sir, I was a government officer prior to joining politics. I had served the NHM from 2016 November to the time that I took a voluntary retirement, and that was just for 10 months. So the IMR and MMR has been there prior to my joining, and during my course of my short stint in the health department, I did my best, sir. I contributed a lot for the MHIS as well, sir.
Okay.
So therefore, sir, I request the Honourable Chief Minister to kindly take back those words, which was not really, acceptable to me, sir. That's all, sir.
Chief Minister, please. Just be brief, please.
Sir, we have
already, Mr. Speaker, sir,
I have already replied.
One more point I would like the CM to respond is about the frequent transfer of very important officers who are linked with administration of justice. I have referred to this particular case. I know it may be little inconvenient personally for the CM to respond to this. It is specific to Laimukra PS case 132-2017, and when the SP concerned has indicated that this IO is crucial to proceed with a high-profile case, the SP also was transferred. When is the government going to invite our next State Security Commission meeting? These are glaring examples of predetermined intent to keep on transferring officers who do not or who are going to actually fulfill their responsibility in sync with the law.
Yeah. Chief Minister, just be brief, please.
Sir,
I would like to close this
yes,
motion.
Sir, we, the officers, are always transferred in the best interest of the state, and we always follow that principle. So, apart from that, sir, I think there's so many issues. If I have to reply to all, it will be a long drawn affair, sir. Yeah. So I think from my side, sir, I have given all the replies as far as possible. And if there are any individual things that were mentioned, sir, we have taken note of that, and I can personally discuss with all the members that are there. So, sir, I would request the opposition to withdraw, sir, or you could put it to vote, sir.
So now let me know the mind of the mover. Whether you would...
Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you. Thank you for the time. But only on this relevant case of Lamukra, because this is linked with the transferring of SP. I want an assurance from the government that meeting of the State Security Commission will be convened on time, on a regular basis, as per the requirement of the law, and administration of justice, whatever is required, will not be tempered upon, because this is linked with a very serious case. Okay. There were people who were trained to be criminal, and this pertains to this. So it is dangerous when we are talking about skill training program, whether in a similar case, such trainings are being given.
Okay,
so therefore, this is needed.
Would you like to respond? Chief Minister, please. Would you like to respond to that? No.
Sir, we'll call the State Security Commission. Because of COVID and all these reasons, we were not able to call it, but we'll make sure we call it on time, sir.
Okay, fine. So since the Chief Minister has already replied, may I now know the mind of the mover, whether he will withdraw this motion or not?
The assurance from the government to protect the interests of the state should come forward to enable us to decide to withdraw. Because I have said about power, said about that 141,000 metric ton with a certified copy coming from the Deputy Commissioner. So it involves huge loss of revenue for the state. Yeah.
If the lecture is going to go on, sir, I think it's better we put it to vote, sir. Yeah.
So we would like that willingness and intent to be forthcoming from the government, from the Chief Minister.
Sir, my entire reply has been directed towards exactly what was even mentioned. In fact, I have replied more with all the intentions that we have and how we plan to take the state forward, sir. So I think it's very clear. Yeah. My reply was very clear, sir.
I think the Chief Minister has already replied, so it all depends on the mover, whether he is satisfied with the reply or not. We cannot continue with the discussion. I would request the mover to make up his mind whether he would withdraw this motion or not, so that we can move forward with the...
I think there's no clear intention coming from the CM to find out about that 141,000 metric ton. It's a prima facie case. Prima facie case of disappearance of such a huge quantity of coal brought with an evidence. Even one. Let us go together and verify. Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Let
so may I know the mind? Yeah, may I know the mind?
Interest of the state.
Please, I think I've given enough time today. I think I've been very, very fair to all of you. Very fair. I think you should not take advantage of this fairness that I've been playing. From both sides of the House. I've been given a very fair to everybody to speak, to address the concerns and everything. I would like now to take a call on this. May I know the mind of the mover? That's the last request from my side, please.
We will withdraw with a commitment coming from the government. We will happily withdraw when the commitment comes from the government, and I hope you will be happily also committing. I think you have given us enough time. I think you have given enough time for the government also to reply. He has spoken about different developmental programs. This is natural. Every government has a developmental program. Education, we know. We started with ADB. How many buildings have been constructed? We know it's a continuation.
Right.
But then,
So
yes.
I think
We have heard.
I've already given my reply, sir, and it's in line with what all the members have mentioned and what opposition is saying. We are all together to take the state forward. I think it's very clear. So I think my reply has been very, very clear, sir.
Now
It's
final.
an assurance.
Now final.
It's an assurance.
Yes. I have given my reply.
With that assurance,
I have not said assurance.
It's already said. Huh?
I
Isn't
said
an assurance? That's why I want clarity from.
Because I want to intervene a little bit. See, this is no confidence motion. In the no confidence motion, since you already made up your mind, with due respect, sir, I understand that if we continue for another 2-3 hours, it will not end.
I will not allow
Because
so.
the intention of the opposition is not to withdraw. So why not they come out very clearly, say yes or no. That's it. And
That's
if
what I'm asking now,
not,
right
if
now.
not also, sir,
Yeah.
you have the authority to just go for voting.
Yeah. So may I know now, final please. Let me not repeat the same thing again and again. What is the mind of the mover? Whether he will withdraw this motion or not.
The opposition is collective in its decision not to withdraw because government seems to be not willing to come up clean. Thank you, sir.
Since the mover has not withdrawn his motion, now I will put the motion to the vote of the House. The question is that the no confidence be passed. Those who are in favor of the motion, say aye. Those who are against, say no. I think the noes have it, and the no confidence motion is lost.